for today, I would say.
Just the dragon coming down. All right, guys, it's time.
That's it.
Everything burns.
Welcome, everyone, tonight. The four of us, soon to be X, might be joining us a bit later from Utah Outcasts, are going to be discussing what the fuck do we do from here with what's going on in the fire that's everywhere. I do want to go around and have everyone introduce themselves in case you guys don't know who anybody here is. Cyrus, you start, and then we'll do Owen and John.
Hi there, my name is Cyrus the Skeptic. I had a channel, it got stolen, I got it back. Me and Telltale are still trying to figure out what the hell is going on with another one. But I cover religion, philosophy, politics, and I do video game streams. So if any of that stuff, which is quite the smorgasbord, interests you, then cool. If not, that's fine. We probably won't get along, and that's okay.
I am Telltale, Owen. I have my Telltale channel. I don't know how much audience overlap we have, but I talk about cults and stuff like that. So, yeah.
John?
I'm
We're all
I'm
like,
John.
what?
I'm John, the Godless Engineer, and I do a bunch of atheist related content that is whether or not God exists or anti-creationism stuff, things of that nature. So if you want to go over there and check me out, please do. On Godless Engineer on YouTube.
And tonight with John the Apostate, thank you for the $3 super sticker. All super chats and super stickers are going to Cyrus's fundraiser to remodel his kitchen tonight. So
Water damage sucks.
Water damage, yes. Aikita, also thank you for your super chat of $5. All of that's going to Cyrus tonight. So pour them in, big time.
And I
you
still
need the
stand.
kitchen.
I still stand by what I said yesterday, Jen, when you were on my stream. You are sending me 66%, not 100%, because YouTube takes its cut. Don't send 100%. You'll be doing that out of pocket. Don't stop. You didn't have to. You didn't have to do the first thing.
You tell me not to do it. You know I'm gonna.
I know you'll do it out of
exact
spite anyway, but I have to do it for posterity.
It's me. All right, so shit is fucked. Everything is on fire. We have new lawsuits that have popped up. We have lawsuits.
stuff we found out just minutes ago.
Minutes ago. As it stands now, Biden. Do you guys want to run off the CNN or the AP map?
I like AP myself.
AP
So
seems to update a little more often.
AP's got him down to like 6, right? Because I've got CNN running right now. AP's got him down. Joe Biden down to 6.
Yeah, Joe
You
Biden.
mean 6 remaining electoral votes?
Yeah, Joe Biden's at 264 electoral votes. Nocturnal electoral votes.
We're all fucking nocturnal these last couple of days.
Yeah, it's got him at 264 electoral votes. Donald Trump is at 214. Though the fact that Donald Trump is at 214 has a lot to do with our lawsuits that we want to talk about.
And so what are we holding out on right now? I know Nevada is big.
It's really just if
Nevada.
if Biden gets Nevada, that's really all that matters here. That gets him his 270 electoral votes, and we can just Trump can have Georgia. He can have trust me, he can have Georgia. I don't fucking like it here, and he can have Pennsylvania, North Carolina at that point. The 270 will be over to Biden, and Trump will sit there and scream to his QAnon base, and that's about all he'll have left.
Although I was looking at it because, Nevada was pretty close and it was concerning me. But I'm looking a little bit closer here. There are basically 2 main districts in the state that are largely uncounted still. 84% counted in Clark County, which is the Las Vegas area, and 89% counted in Washoe County, which is the Reno area. And Biden won both of those districts clean, like a clear victory in both of those areas. So I think a total between them of maybe 1 million votes, and Biden won by about, he got 53% in each of them, basically. So if we can see the same type of turnout and the same results in each of those districts, he's got Nevada. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, Nevada, I don't like that it's only 8,000 between the two of them. That is way too tight for my taste.
A 0.6% lead.
Right. But like you said, we're mainly waiting for, I believe, Vegas and Reno to come
Yeah.
through right now. Arizona. Let's talk about Arizona a little bit. Biden is widening in Arizona slightly, but it's also a nail biter.
It's been Arizona's basic. Associated Press has Arizona called. It has
Oh,
Arizona.
see,
Yeah,
other
called
ones
on
most
Biden.
places
yeah.
do. New York Times doesn't yet. I was looking at the exact same metrics on Arizona as the other. Like, which districts are still waiting to be counted? Are they blue or are they red? That'll give us some insight into whether or not we can expect Biden's lead to widen or shrink. And right now, the only uncounted districts are heavily blue. Biden has a 68% lead in this district that only has 82% counted. Same thing across basically all of them. And all of the red districts, or many of them, are, already mostly counted in most of these areas. So I'm not terribly worried. A lot of this comes down to mail in versus in-person voting too. So
Right, and I'm not particularly worried either, even in Republican counties, because Donald Trump decided to go for the Arizona Golden Boy, John McCain. He went hard for him,
right.
and
And
even
because he decided to be a dick.
When Cindy McCain turned around and said, "Fuck him, I'm backing Biden," I think that all but sealed the deal. In Arizona.
Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it too. They're saying that Trump supporters absolutely hate Cindy McCain now, which is like so sad, dude. She's just doing the best she can,
Trump supporters hate the Count from Sesame Street right now. is who they
Right?
hate.
Oh my God. Trump supporters, I've noticed, tend to be very vitriolic and just venomous and angry a lot of the time, which is something you find out of cults pretty
Well,
commonly anyway.
we actually
so.
have a local radio DJ here with the most popular morning show who is so angry and is now spewing the Democrats cheated our vote.
Oh my God.
Have you guys so out of Nevada? Have you seen the barbecue beer and freedom guy?
No.
Yes,
Oh yeah, yes, I saw him.
you posted that. Yeah. Can we
Yeah.
show it on screen? Is it
Yes,
possible? or-
I gotta find it. I have
Probably.
no idea how to screenshot.
I
Pretty-
know I tweeted it. I think KC she tweeted it too. I mean, I feel like that's pretty much all of the Trump like supporters right now is just like, the Biden crime family. Why is it that everybody that they don't like turns into a crime family? It's like you
Right.
got the Clinton crime family, you got the Biden crime family. Are there multiple crime families?
We're all
out there?
crime families.
Do you? What I
Or
loved
crime family?
one thing I loved is with the Hunter Biden laptop thing that they've been just going on and on about recently. There's a particular Twitter post I responded to on this where a person said, "Oh my God, look, he spent $10,000 on strippers and $2,000 on porn. Biden crime family." And I'm just like, wait, hold on. Did the Trumpers forget about Stormy Daniels? Did that just not happen to them?
Right?
Did that just
No, it didn't. It didn't happen to them.
It
That's
never
exactly
happened.
right.
Why are we shaming supporting sex workers though? That was my point.
Right, I agree.
I posted that because I posted it to my Twitter, and I've got a lot of lefty followers. And everybody was just like, "Oh wow, Hunter Biden's pretty based, supporting sex workers."
I was like, wow, he tips his dancers that well.
Like,
I'm calling my friends like bitches. Y'all gotta find out where the fuck he goes. Go dance there. You're making some money that night.
It's
he's good to us.
ridiculous, man. I just like this whole situation completely blows my mind. Like, how did we get to the point where Trump got like 67 million votes or something like that? I don't know. I don't know how we got here. Like, it just happened so fast.
Well, I mean, Georgia. What the fuck?
Right?
Yeah,
What?
I'm really
What?
surprised by Georgia, to be quite honest.
I'm not as somebody who lives here, and I live in the rural areas of Georgia. Georgia's doing about what I expected. The dense population centers like Atlanta and the areas around it, Savannah, those areas are going blue because they are population dense. Those areas tend to be more liberal. But everywhere around here, there are yards have 10 Trump signs in them. Yards have Confederate flags on them. Like everywhere you go in my area, like it's if I host a barbecue or something around here when the air isn't trying to kill us, it's kind of scary. The closer you get to my house, the more QAnon you smell in the air.
I'm wondering if Nevada Man's going to show up at your next barbecue.
Who I forget what part of the country did this, but somebody actually elected a QAnon supporter.
Us?
Yeah.
We did. Major League Green.
Was it Georgia?
Georgia.
Georgia. We elected Major League Green.
Yeah.
I
Just everybody imagine her getting to her first day of work in Washington D.C. and she's just like, I'm sorry, can I meet Q? And like everybody's like,
Q.
we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Stop it.
I wonder what that's gonna be like, right? Like she's gonna get like security briefings and stuff now, because doesn't Congress get certain security briefings and
Yes.
stuff?
Okay. So did you guys ever see A Beautiful Mind?
Yeah, it's been a long time though.
Yeah. Okay, so you know the part where he's just like full blown crazy and he's like hiding out in like a bunker or something like that, and he's got like newspapers all up on the walls, like plastered with his own spit or something, and he's like drawing lines to different letters and everything like that. That's going to be her office,
right?
Just with the daily news, the daily briefings and everything like that. It's like, well, let's see. An N appeared 3 times in this one, and then a Q appeared 3 times in this one. That means we're going to attack Saudi Arabia.
That's actually the level that they're operating at, because there are 2 things that stuck out to me. One was when Trump was speaking near Easter, and somebody was in an Easter bunny costume, and they were like, "The White Rabbit, the White Rabbit,"
or a storm's coming. Anytime that's mentioned at all, any mention of a storm anywhere,
or the time that I can't remember.
It's hard.
Who was speaking,
right?
But they had like 2 blocks next to them, and it said 80. The top block said 86, and the bottom block said 45, and they were like, "It's a signal to assassinate the president."
Oh my God.
I remember
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I remember this one time Trump gave a speech. I can't remember where it was, but basically they had like a whole bunch of like American flags lined up, right? And some QAnon supporter on Twitter was like, 9 flags on the left, 5 flags on the right. Message received. it's like,
what the hell, dude? What is going on? Seriously. And this person is now in Congress, right?
Yeah.
It's just
what happened.
This person is now privy to policies that they now have to vote on. The same policies that they were saying they're setting this up as the new world order. This person is now voting on policies, and this person's now getting first look at the policies that they're going to be voting in, that they constantly scream as part of a conspiracy. All I picture is the tinfoil on the windows with a hole scratched out that shows you the pizza place, the Pizzagate place, and she's like, "Who's ordering pepperoni? I know what that is."
Owen, you go on. You were about to say something. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I was going to say, I hope that this QAnoner doesn't end up on like the Intelligence Committee or something.
It just reminds me, there's a friend of mine, and we don't really talk now, and I hope the reasons can be at least somewhat obvious. But I was talking to them, and they were mentioning like people that they watch, like Sargon and Stykes and Hammer, and they mentioned Pizzagate, and I was like, that debunked conspiracy is like, Pizzagate's not been debunked.
Oh,
what are you talking about?
Dude.
And I'm just like, dude, a guy literally ran there with guns, and there was nothing there. And he's like, well, do you see what happened with Epstein? I'm like, yes, of course. Pedophiles exist in the world. That does not suddenly make Pizzagate real.
So I know Manhattan Detention Center. I've had many, many, many friends become guests of the Manhattan Detention Center. The all-inclusion resort that it is. They don't provide generators during the winter. Their suicide watch is never on point. Like, more people die there by suicide per year than fucking Rikers. We weren't surprised. We were like, real quick, I just want to get to some super chats. Thank you, Carpathia, for the $2. John the Apostate for $2. Phelan for services repairs and his crime family. And
have a
And
crime family
Akita,
now.
Akita is Cirrus is my godfather. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's I don't know how that's gonna operate, but
Oh wait, we just got one in from which I can't with Georgia and the 0.7% right now. I don't know if I need to party or make a blanket cave. So it's Georgia. I would go for a party in the blanket cave for Georgia.
do both at the same time.
I am surprised by Georgia. I'm glad to see that Biden widened some more suburban counties around Atlanta that Hillary Clinton could not get. However, if you guys want a really, really good guide, look at the 20... Dude, I'm streaming. Sorry. Go. If you want a good guide, look at the Stacey Abrams 2018 election for their state Senate, I believe. It's literally lining up the same. The only issue was that we had some voter suppression issues in Fulton County. Out in Georgia, had there not been, she would have taken it. Hello, Allie. I see you. Georgia, yeah, we're down to 0.7 with Georgia. Georgia said that their votes will be in sometime between midnight and 3 a.m. Eastern time. So I'm not sleeping. Anybody
All
else?
votes?
All of their votes will be in. They said that they have 29,000 left to count and 100,000 that they have to take a double look at. You know, they get a Democrat, they get a Republican, and hey, this looks kind of shady. What is the intent?
Got it. Interesting.
I'm giving North Carolina to Trump.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've always
Giving-
picked North Carolina for leaning more Trump. I never thought that Biden could really make up the
What he needed.
difference there.
He was
Pennsylvania,
polling
though.
really well, and
was.
polls aren't necessarily unreliable. I mean, we know that there's a margin of error of like 3% one way or the other, right?
Yeah.
We should probably talk about the polls. Some of them seemed to be inflated a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this also came down to voter suppression because they were fighting battle after battle to toss out as many votes as they could. Still 300,000 mail-in ballots just not found. The USPS was supposed to sweep their facilities
Which
for
in
them.
West Virginia, correct? And they never did.
No, not in West Virginia. I was just saying the total of 300,000, which is so many votes that it would flip West Virginia if they were West Virginian votes. 73% of the mail-in ballots from North Carolina were not delivered. So, who knows? Maybe
there
Biden would have won.
I can't remember where it was, but they literally had like a mail guy in the back of a mall just like dumping them into a dumpster.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, yeah, fuck this. I'm not doing this today. Good night. Bye.
And Biden still seems to be winning. Appears to be, tentatively. That's
Well,
impressive.
To touch on voter suppression, do you think that Texas may have gone better had they not kind of pulled out all these stops and the ballot drop box issues and
I don't think that voter suppression, as far as I can tell, I think Biden lost it by 550,000 or so. And that's a lot. That's a lot.
I'm curious. I'm curious as how much that might actually have affected Georgia, though, because Brian Kemp actually has a long history going back at least a decade of voter suppression. So I actually have some friends who were working the polls, and they didn't report to me anything like weird. They just had a lot more people than usual because, of course, we have more people voting this year than usual. But I am curious how much that might have affected things.
It wouldn't surprise me at all. I don't think Texas would have flipped this year, but I can foresee a time in, 4 years, 8 years, 12, who knows, when Texas does turn blue. And at that point, Republicans will never win another election, I don't think.
Without
Of course,
New
Texas,
Ohio
York,
is
California,
turning red,
and Texas?
so.
No.
Oh, I know, yeah. It would be a power dynamic. Absolutely no way.
And I'm wondering, with the high rates of gentrification in the northern states, people can't afford to live up there anymore. But the South is notoriously known for its lower cost of living. Do you think that this migration out of the northern states due to the rising cost of living is affecting the voting in the southern states now?
really depends on where they're going specifically, because if they're going for lower cost of living areas, they're not going for Atlanta, right? They're not going for Savannah. If we're just talking like Georgia, they're not going for your dense population zones. They're going for more rural areas. But a lot of those rural areas are still coming out red. So does it affect it? Yes. Does it affect it enough to flip any of those counties? Probably not.
John,
Well-
what do you think, John? We haven't heard from John in a
Yeah,
minute.
that's true. Go ahead.
What do you think on that? I know both you and I tend to be in areas that were once very southern, very conservative, but we're now seeing a mass migration of northerners into our state that seem to be a little bit more liberal, both of our states. John.
Oh, sorry.
John is exhausted. Who do you think I'm calling? No, I already yelled at the kid. He got his one shot on stream.
So I mean, I know, our area in North Alabama is kind of mixed as far as votes go. I think we're I guess you could say purple. I mean, of course, Birmingham's always been blue, and then around Huntsville, it's really mixed because we're kind of a tech center. We got a lot
Well,
of
Huntsville has the military base too, right?
it does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Trump only took it by 53%. What was Biden's? Like, yeah. Well, I mean, there's the libertarian vote that could have. So yeah, he only took it by 53% here. So I mean, I think that it's starting to kind of sway more Democratic or Democrat. So. Yeah, I don't know. In the future, I think that it'll progressively get more and more blue, but I don't really ever know if Alabama will ever get out of its red kind of shade.
Kind of because of the rural area. I just want to highlight some super chats real quick. Cyrus is banking tonight. No, we're not going to recount the F-bombs. I'm not taking anybody to court whatsoever. I'm too broke. He has a plan to deal with these red caps post-election, but it involves a mythical high road. I don't take that either. I'm not that person.
I do know that there was a really good Innuendo Studios video about the whole "you go low, we go high" approach, and how a lot of that was recently people reference back to when Michelle Obama kind of pushed for that. And now people are just going, well, wait a minute. If we go high when they go low and then we lose, why?
I'm at that point. I'm like, well, we're fucking losing, so fuck that. We're gonna beat somebody's ass now. No, I'm now beating your ass.
Metaphorically in Minecraft.
In Minecraft, I'm gonna beat your ass on the front lawn.
Well, sadly, it's not us that does it. It has to be the Democrat leaders, and it's almost like they're just like
non-existent.
They don't even give a shit about what's happening. Sometimes it seems, they're like so like soft and just like they're shy, and the Republicans are out there just like tripping people and pushing them over and not giving a shit. It's like, what the hell is going on?
I'm getting bad
here?
flashbacks from high school with this now.
I think
that's what it's like, man.
I think I've gotten some DMs recently about this that have basically asked, what do we do after we win? What do we do if Trump wins? And my position on that is, in either case, the DNC is a failure. That is, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Because even if Biden wins, the fact that he's winning by such a slim margin against quite possibly the most unelectable fool speaks volumes about the DNC and how they operate their campaign, how they build their platform.
Put a quick pin in that because I do want to get to that in a little bit. But we do have this question that I know we've all been wanting to talk about. What do you think the chance of Trump stealing the election through the courts and recounts is? So what states do we have
Whiny baby
lawsuits
cry?
in right now?
Well, right. Well, yeah. So I think the only one that I've heard of doing a recount is Wisconsin.
I know he's petitioning Georgia. He's petitioning Pennsylvania, I think, was another one.
Petitioned, yeah. We can talk about that in a
And
second.
there was another one. Arizona, maybe?
So it just keep in mind, he as far as I understand it, which I could be wrong, he's going to have to pay for the recounts, and it's
$3 million.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, he's looking at spending $3 million, which Yeah, I mean he is. Yeah, what was
He's
it? They
raising money.
sent the Trump campaign sent like what 24 emails.
Some real Hitler-esque shit too. That was
Oh
some
yeah,
real Hitler-esque shit
stand
right
up and
there.
fight for your vote. What the fuck are you talking about? Fight for your vote?
I did not hear this. What happened?
This is news.
He sent
Oh.
out a massive email push that the Democrats are stealing the vote and they're stealing democracy and we need to raise money to make sure they don't take it from us. Like this was
Wait,
some real
how is the raised money going to change the votes?
because
Does
they're
Trump just
convinced if
desperately
they
need it for
recount,
taxes?
they think they're convinced if it recounts, he's got to pay for the recount. They're convinced that they're magically going to find ballots somewhere. I don't
That's
know.
because
Maybe
they want Trump people involved in the recount. They want
Right.
Trump people
Well, one
there
sec, I will be right
counting so they can
Right.
light some on fire while they're sitting there.
they somehow, I don't know, Melania's hiding them. Maybe she wants to go back to
Right.
her apartment. I don't know. Maybe that's what they're looking for. He's got to pay for this. So now he's pushing out this massive email chain with this real propaganda-y shit. They're coming to steal the election and steal democracy and, you know, your freedoms are
Such
on
a
the line.
fucking
and-
mess, man. I just can't stand it. I was looking at the Pennsylvania situation. Giuliani and Eric Trump, I think,
So fucking
maybe.
Giuliani.
Either Eric Trump or Donald Trump Jr. They filed a lawsuit in Pennsylvania to, I actually have it pulled up here. Let me see
Oh,
what it was
you.
exactly. They filed the lawsuit in Pennsylvania, and the judge was Justin Levitt, and he said, quote, hang on, let me find the quote. Okay, he says, quote, "I don't understand how the integrity of the election was affected." Then he said, "A lawsuit without provable facts showing a statutory or constitutional violation is just a tweet with a filing fee." That's pretty on point. He threw it out. Like, he threw their lawsuit out. They filed it, held this press briefing, flew to like Pittsburgh or Philadelphia or whatever, and they held this briefing for the American public at this outrage that they were actually counting votes. The gall of these people. And
The gall
So-
of them doing their job for democracy.
I know. So
Horror.
they announced they're going to file the lawsuit, and next thing we know, Judge Levitt says,
Fuck off.
"I'm tossing this. It's not happening. This is stupid as dog shit."
What did you
and
write this
guys
in fucking crayon? Like,
are- right?
I'm wondering if she was
So-
like, what was this written in fucking crayon? Get out of here! What the fuck are you doing?
Seriously, like, the whole thing is outrageous. And Judge Levitt actually said, the judges in the country have largely ignored the noise of the race and the bluster of Trump's Twitter feed. They've actually demanded facts and haven't been ruling on all caps claims of fraud or suppression. They haven't confused public relations with the predicate for litigation, and I would expect that to continue. That's his take on it. So
Yeah, I find it very, very odd how, because if you look at Donald Trump's timeline on Twitter, he's ahead in Pennsylvania, but then he hears that there's more votes to be counted, and so he's like, "We filed an injunction in Pennsylvania to make them stop," and it's
Yeah.
like, what?
Don't you want
I am
all the
thoroughly-
votes counted?
Right. I'm thoroughly convinced at this point that anybody that's so diehard, like, supporting of Trump and are like pounding at the doors of these of the election board or whatever, I really feel like they just outright hate democracy at this point.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
because of how they're acting. And so I'm not going to say all Republicans, obviously,
They'd
but I'm
rather
just
have the
saying that the
fashy
ones
fan
that are
club.
so vehemently like supportive of Trump that they would march down and try to get them to actually stop the counting of the votes. I mean, at that point, it's hard to say that they don't hate democracy.
yeah,
So-
at least the leadership, Republican leadership minimum, they seem to fucking hate it.
So here's the difference, though, because we're all looking at Bush v. Gore and we're like, oh, fuck, can this really happen again?
Yeah.
Trump did not think this bitch through. Didn't. Gore is actually the one who demanded the recount in Florida. Bush was the one against it because Bush was ahead. Florida said, fuck off, we need to recount. They're thinking there was something wrong with the voting machines to where, and punch card readers to where the punch cards weren't reading right, things were skipping. So Florida said, yes, we're gonna push through a recount. They then petitioned the Supreme Court, and I'm still a little fuzzy on that. I think it's because it was the machines and the counting, not what the states actually have set out, which is why they were able to bring it up. Justice Scalia is the one that said, no, if we demand the recount, then that's a miscarriage of justice. We just need to trust what this says. This is now flipped. Donald Trump is the one asking for the recount. And he's not asking for the recount due to machine error, due to counting error. He just thinks there's too many.
It just it has to be a conspiracy.
Yes. According to Trump, and this is where he's fucking up again, we should not be considering votes after Election Day. However, in every state, that mail-in ballot has to be postmarked by November 3rd or it's not counted.
Right.
Is what it is. So this bullshit that he's bringing up in Georgia of, well, we saw them put 53 ballots on the table. As long as that's postmarked by the 3rd, it was as long as it was brought in by 7 o'clock this morning, I believe, and it was postmarked by the 3rd, those are fully counted votes. Well, so now Trump is thinking, I lined SCOTUS with people from Florida that voted in favor of Bush, not thinking he was the one that was going to need the recount.
It's not just that. It gets even worse than that when you consider the fact that he's been basically destroying the post office from the inside out.
Yep.
And when you consider that fact combined with, now granted, this is an opinion. This is a connecting the dot thing. Think of this in the same level as every other dumb shit conspiracy theory because I have nothing connecting these except anecdote.
Are you going QAnon on me? For
no,
the left? Is that what
I'm just going that it's very strange to me that Trump would undermine the United States Post Office, who also happened to carry in all the mail-in ballots.
That's not conspiracy to me. I thought that was like a known thing. He was doing that intentionally.
That's a bridge.
The reason that I'm saying that I wouldn't, the reason that I said that I wouldn't stake anything on that specifically myself, is because while it is a known fact that Trump hates mail-in ballots and it is a known fact that he's undermined the USPS, for me it's bridging those two together that is the issue for me.
Okay.
I want to touch on this too because people are asking, what are your thoughts of the possibility of a rogue elector making the election tied, or worse, throwing it to Trump? What we're left with, that can't happen at this point.
Yeah,
as far as I'm aware.
I agree with
you.
You.
Tie that out.
There's a faithless elector problem that people are concerned about, or whatever. Where Trump is going to basically weasel people into voting against their states and having them vote
because in a lot of states it's legal to do that.
Yes.
Right, but Nancy Pelosi basically came out and said that she's okay with him trying that because she is confident enough that she has the votes in the House that it's not going to work.
Because even if they do a tie like 269 to 269, it then just goes to the House. And they can just go,
are we in a position to get 269 or 269? I don't think we're in a position.
If there's one rogue elector, just one, then it goes 269, 269, and we're in that position. That's if you only have one.
Yeah, well, I think that the rogue thing is it's pretty slim to none that it'll happen. I can't think of a. Has there been a time in the past when that's actually happened?
Not really.
No, I don't believe that's ever happened before. They tried to get people to do that to vote against Trump in 2016, but and some even talked about it, but it didn't happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it comes down, it's legal for a lot of states to do it. It is a thing that is a possibility to happen, but is there historical precedent for it? No. Is there likelihood for it? No.
Very low likelihood, I'd say.
As far as SCOTUS, if we're going to rule on, I forget which amendment it was. Maybe it was the 3rd or the 14th. But if we have to rule back on cases, Trump is shot.
Right.
Because their previous filing was, no, a recount is a miscarriage of justice. And I'm sorry, it would lack faith in our election system, is what Scalia said. It would show
Right.
lacking faith, and this is why people said SCOTUS picked that president, because for all we know, with the way the machines had been working, I think it was
They
something
did
like
go back and
1,000.
recount, and it was Gore. Gore
It was
should have
Gore.
actually been president eventually. Yeah, you know, months down the line they did. But something else to consider is our elections are. Well, by the way, I have to go in a minute. I hope that's okay.
Oh no,
I
that's
only have another
fine. I
minute or
totally get
two.
it. I
Okay.
totally understand.
Okay, I was gonna say, our elections are actually like 50 tiny elections. They're not like a federally run thing. It's just 50 states each run their own little ones, and that's why Trump had to sue Pennsylvania and Georgia and whoever the hell else he was trying to sue. And instead of filing a federal lawsuit, because it's a state level issue. So if it came down to it, the highest court that Trump could appeal to is, for example, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, not the Supreme Court, the one that he staffed.
Right, the state
It would
Supreme
have to be
Court.
a state one, yeah. And Pennsylvania threw it out. So that's the end of it for Pennsylvania and Trump. It's not
Right,
happening there, as far as I know,
However,
right?
if he can count voter fraud, then we can turn this into a federal case, and then he can appeal the federal Supreme Court, the federal
Okay.
circuit court. Because if he says voter fraud, all halt. If he, the way
Right.
people counted, if the electors are being shady, he can full halt this, and then now it becomes not only a national security problem, but a federal issue.
Interesting. There's a lot of complexity to this situation.
I'm going back to school for this, and I bang my head into the wall, and I go, "Why the fuck am I doing this? What is wrong
I
with
know,
me?"
right?
Like,
I would like to know, like,
Do
as
I
far
hate
as I
myself?
know, all lawsuits he's filed have been against states, though, right? He has not filed a federal lawsuit. Hasn't even mentioned one, as far as I
he
know.
at this point cannot, because what he's contesting is state rules per election, county rules
Okay.
per election. So at this point, I think I said it very eloquently on Cyrus's channel last night. He can't just walk up, slap Kavanaugh, and whip out his dick and smack Kavanaugh in his beer helmet with it and say, "Hey, fix this for me."
No,
Yeah.
I like beer. You can't make me do that.
He, he can't tell. I call Amy Coney Barrett off Donald.
I mean,
Now that's her new name. He
Right.
can't look at off Donald and say, "Hey, you'll be the next ex-wife if you do this for me." You can't just walk
Right.
up to the steps of the Supreme Court and be like,
Right.
off Donald.
I call her off Donald now. But yeah, Owen, if you need to go, let us know what's happening with you, if anything new's coming up
Okay.
that you want to plug.
Let's see. I don't think so. Nothing super special. Just my normal podcast I do every week on Sunday. I stream it. It may change to Saturday. I don't know. But I release clips throughout the week. And my channel, Telltale, you know, just normal stuff.
Everything's
That's about
linked
it.
below too. All of
Right.
Telltale stuff is linked below.
But anyway,
so
I
we don't wanna
appreciate
keep
you having
up.
me on. It's
Of
been
course, thank you
pretty-
for coming.
It's been fun.
Yeah,
you
no
for
problem.
coming.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later on, okay?
Thanks.
All right,
See
see
ya.
you, Owen.
Later.
I did get a super chat in my stream that mentioned that in 2016 there were 10 electors that either attempted to or were faithless, and what actually historically it's not that we don't have faithless electorates; it's that we've never had a year where even with faithless electorates it would have made a difference. This would be the first year where it would have where it would make a difference. And I actually have now pulled up the list of faithless electorates for 2016, as well as the list for faithless electorates from the years prior, just to fact check that it wasn't just a super chat that came in that said something. I'm like, okay, let me check this real quick. Okay, no,
Yeah.
they're right. But if we do have
could
a
it really make a difference this year?
this year, one electoral vote would swing it. So this year,
I don't remember being this stressed out in 2016. Any of you remember?
that's
being
because in
this stressed out
2016 we didn't. In 2016, Trump was the doofus buffoon who made Kent Hovind look like a genius. This year, he's the fascist.
Oh, when times were simpler, wasn't it? The good old days.
Yeah, because back in 2016, like I knew that it would be a rough 4 years with a Republican president, but I did not at all expect the kind of bullshit that we've been met with.
So
So
I grew up with Trump. And I remember how racist he was. I remember how anti-union he was, and for those of you who don't know, Trump had a big hand in gentrifying New York City. What he and other real estate developers would do is he would buy city housing projects out from the city in these low income Section 8 houses, do everything they can to get everybody out, renovate them, turn them into high-end luxury condos, and then sell them to overseas interests to keep them empty. Which, because now that we have a higher demand for housing because things are filled but nobody's in them, it drove the cost of rent up and the cost of living up. So the minute I saw Trump get elected, I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. We're going to be broke. Nobody's going to talk to us. I didn't plan for a fucking pandemic.
It's not a pandemic anymore.
Is it an epidemic now, or is it a pandemic?
Endemic. As in,
Endemic.
it's a thing that pandemic is a thing that you can suppress. We're in endemic territory now. It's not going away. That's because what we discovered about the antibodies, because of the 7 different strains that are there, because of the research that Johnson & Johnson has done about the vaccines, and the fact that the half-life is so short, we're in endemic territory.
Well, and we're not even at the season finale of 2020 yet. We're not even at the season finale. We're just in like the final 2 episodes. I do want to touch on this, Carpathia of Lilum. Can she not have authority over a man if she works on the highest court in the world? She has the authority over the lower male judges. Yes. However, Off Donald is an originalist.
Handmaid's Tale for me and not for thee.
She is an originalist, which means that she interprets the law how it was written when the law was written. So I have a plan.
So does that mean we all get muskets now?
I'm gonna get my smoothbore musket right now.
God damn it! I'm in Tennessee. Tennessee would go for this. I can't even appeal this in my state. We need a liberal state to say no to this. Damn it! But she now wants to. She
Just
stated
as the
that
founding fathers intended.
no. Cyrus has his musket.
Sorry.
But she has stated that the gender protections that were applied to the Civil Rights Act of 1964 should not have been applied because when it was written at the time, it was only for race. So hold on, let me just drop X in here.
I've also been
Hey, X.
I've also been told in my live chat that the information that I have on COVID is out of date.
Shit.
There is now an
That's
eighth.
fucking scary.
There is now an 8th strain of COVID in Denmark.
Every new vote for Trump, a new strain of COVID pops up.
It's like the monkey's paw all over again.
Hey, X. For everybody, really quick, this is X from Utah Outcast. X, say hello.
Hi, everybody.
Hi again.
Below too.
I've done stuff with GE before, and we had a discussion with Cyrus earlier this week about Waffle House, so that was fun.
Waffle House is the save point of the South.
If you die in the
That's
South,
what we
yeah.
decided.
You
If you
respawn
die
in
in the
Waffle
South, you
House.
respawn at a Waffle House.
Yep.
So she interprets, now she said that it only applied to race, which is why she felt that the court shouldn't be handling this. So if she decides to start stripping away rights, I figure let's appeals to the federal district court because this would be a federal issue. Oh, Jesus Christ. And we can say that because of the law that states SCOTUS judges when the time it was written, women were not allowed to serve on the Supreme Court. So can we petition for Amy Coney Barrett to be pulled off the Supreme Court due to the originalist interpretation of the law?
Well, I mean, honestly, I'm pretty confused by the whole originalist position. Just because the fact of the matter is the Constitution was written to be a living document so that it could be reinterpreted and changed. So I really don't understand the originalist point.
They literally wanted to rewrite it every generation, if need be.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Now we have originalists. It's like
It has to be based on what the original intent was. That's why we have amendment. Wait. AmyConeyBarrett.exe has stopped working.
So yeah, and honestly, with I don't think that she can be removed for any particular reason other than maybe misconduct or something like that. But I really think that her being on the court is going to have a lot of detrimental effects. I mean, today it was kind of covered up by the election coverage,
Yes.
but they heard or whatever they I guess heard is the correct term, a case on LGBTQ issue.
Was that
Today.
the adoption case today? I thought it was the Muslim.
I can't remember exactly what it was concerning. I just know that there was a lot of discussion comparing gender to race, and basically she was like, gender's not race, so therefore.
No, they
gender's
decided
not
to
race.
attach this to another argument. I just want to clear something up quick. No, I'm not saying she should not have been able to be sworn in because the right to a job is now covered under gender, sexual orientation, everything else. I'm saying that according to her interpretation of the law, she should not have been able to. There was a case, I think it deals with 2 Muslim men being put on a watch list for being Muslim. And this is a very big religious case because it's now being brought into Christians. Do Christians get the right or everybody else? Are we dealing with 2 separate classes of people now? And then they spun this into, well, if we apply religion to this and this religion to that, and then they decided to bring fucking LGBTQIA issues, and then, well, if gender is this race? This shit spiraled from a religious freedom case all the way down to this kind of case.
You know what's funny though?
Is what they wanted to argue.
What's really funny? If they wanted, where the fuck is my book?
Cyrus is never prepared.
If I wanted to make the case that gender is race, I could. Because it is just as societally constructed. Because when we constructed things like Caucasian and other things that we consider to be race, we did not have the ability to look at a genome. We did not have the ability to do anything but look skin deep and look at performative actions. Functionally, when we established the concept of race, it operated exactly as the concept of gender does. And I have lots of reading I need to do on this. My book's right fucking here.
Well, yeah, and another argument, I guess, in favor of that is that if you look at the history of race and how we developed, our modern sense of race, race in the past has always just meant like a group of people. It just like a nation group or some other kind of group. That's why it's a little confusing for some people out there to consider Jews to be both a group of people like race and a religion.
Yeah, it became considered an ethnic religion.
Right. And so sometimes that confuses some people because they only know Jews or Jewish as being like religious in some kind of way, but they're literally a people group too.
Yeah, not predominantly just the followers of Judaism, the people that came from that specific region
right
of the globe. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like there's a lot of people that don't understand that, and I think that it definitely works in gender's favor as far as being considered the same as race, or at least similar in a similar context as race.
I'm listening to you guys. I'm just pulling up this case to see if we can get.
Let's say I hope that we eventually get the fuck over all of these little curbs that we keep throwing in front of people having equal rights with each other and just fucking grow up as a nation. But we've been at it for 400 years, so it's not really going that quick for us.
Okay. John, you were actually right. John was actually
that
right.
Was primed.
Oh my god. Wait, who is Jen? Motherfucker, you're on my channel. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Who is Jen? Your mom.
Your mom.
Jen is so. This is mostly a thing that my viewers are going to get. Jen is a sandwich.
Oh, I've been in sandwiches. Yes.
No,
it does not make me one.
That is not what I mean. This is sandwich absurdism. John is also a sandwich.
What?
I'm really afraid of where this is going right now.
I prefer the term fluffy.
Well, you can be a fluffy sandwich. Those exist.
Okay, look, Casey just called me a meatball sandwich. Listen.
Okay,
I don't
so
think this feels like a judgy space.
Well, I've seen the trick that like
I
guys
feel
can do where you have a
fucking
one
judged.
ball on top, one ball on the bottom, and then you just have the meat in the middle. I mean, that's something you could do.
What were you saying, Jen?
So John was right about the case that was heard today. The case is Fulton v. City of Philadelphia. In March 2008, the City of Philadelphia barred Catholic Social Services from placing children in foster homes because of its policy on not licensing same-sex couples to be foster parents. CSS sued the City of Philadelphia, asking the court to order the city to renew their contract. CSS argues that it's its right to free exercise of religion and free speech, entitled it to reject qualified same-sex couples because they were same-sex couples, rather than for any reason related to their qualifications to care for children. The district court denied CSS's motion for a preliminary injunction. The Third Circuit affirmed, finding that the city's non-discrimination policy was neutral, generally applicable law, and that CSS had not demonstrated that the city targeted CSS for its religious beliefs or was motivated by ill will against its religion. So what this brought into, all of a sudden now, Off Donald wants to be like, well, is gender race?
Yes.
Is this, can we argue? Because what she's trying to do is shoehorn in this. This is not covered under the 1964 Civil Rights Act, because this specifically dealt with race. This is where she's trying to shoehorn
She's
in
basically
on this.
so she's trying to be a transphobe without being a transphobe, but that's exactly what she's doing.
She's trying to be
That's what
J.K.
you are,
Rowling.
though, at that point. If you're trying to tiptoe around it, that makes you it.
Yes, that's functionally what
She's
it
trying to
is.
be
And if
J.K.
she wants to do, like, if she wants me to make that case, like, obviously I don't have anywhere near the amount of clout required for that, or the amount of bread to get there. But
I've lost control of the stream, Sarah. Sarah has the bread. I've lost control.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Now it's winking. Anyways. Anyway, if like I already said earlier, if the case desperately needed to be made, if she wanted to go, well, is gender now race? Yes.
Sure,
They
why
were
not?
they
Let's-
were constructed in an identical manner, and we view the performative aspects of them identically. We view the phenotypical aspects of them identically, and people can't control them either. So, yes. The answer is yes. Sociologically, yes. Fucking
Well, you know what's really kind of fucked up is I've looked into, like, locally the adoption and being able to adopt a kid, and unless you want to go with the state's adoption service, which it is, you know, for kids that are a lot needier than other kids, like troubled kids, like kids that were taken away from their parents because their parents abused them
Yeah.
in various ways, stuff like that. Unless you want to go through the state's adoption service, you do not have another option other than a religious service.
Right.
So it's a really big issue if you allow somebody to discriminate based on just, you know, religion, like what's their religious affiliation, because this not only opens up to discriminate against LGBTQ individuals, but also it comes back to, like, you know, racial segregation. You know, because there was a Tennessee pastor that I kind of quote unquote exposed a while ago.
Which one?
I can't remember what his name is. I just remember the headlines were the most racist pastor ever.
I'm wondering if it was the one in Murfreesboro.
I don't know, but he had like a whole sermon on how you shouldn't mix the races. And I pulled it down from their church website and I put it on the GE channel, and like they had it taken down and shit. It was a whole big thing. But they like there are people that are alive now, as we see with Donald Trump and you know, that whole base, that use religion as a reason to racially discriminate.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the number of times when I've brought up, like, civil rights issues, like on my Facebook page, and I just get this fucking bum rush of supposed atheists out there that think that we should be able to discriminate for any reason.
we call them idiot libertarians or AIU theists.
So I wanted to highlight this. Yes, this is exactly what this means. If the Supreme Court rules in favor of this Catholic charity that handles adoptions, it essentially creates a divide of the Catholics get special treatment and then there's everyone else.
Thank you very much for
Yeah,
becoming
and it's
a
not like
member,
you can just
Arduino.
pretend
And
to be religious.
Also, I do get the joke,
No,
Allison.
like,
no,
Thank you very
they
much for
like
the
dig
$9.99.
through your shit with
They
this.
they like check with your church. You've got to be a regular attending member and all this other stuff. Like they have a lot of criteria in order to actually qualify, and it's so ridiculous.
This is so cute because this is exactly how fucking Utah has worked for like 100 years.
I just noticed X's name, by the way, you motherfucker.
Not Jen, but X.
You dick.
Who is Jen? I don't know. What is Jen? Why is Jen?
I just want
damn it, I
to
don't-
make sure people knew that I wasn't Jen, you know? Because there seemed to be some fucking confusion about it. Christ, people.
So
No, we have LDS. The LDS Church has its fucking fingers in every pie out here, and so if you want to get a kid adopted through LDS Family Services, yeah, you pretty much have to be a member in good standing. They know exactly how much you make, how much you tithe. They know all of this shit.
and if you're working with another offsect of the LDS community, the order, if you don't have your money tied into an order bank, if you don't work for an order company, they're going to deny you.
Oh yeah, I had somebody on my channel earlier this week saying that the group that, what the hell is the name of the show? Sister Wives?
Yeah, that's the order. That's the order.
They were trying to say they're not Mormons. I'm like, motherfucker, they get it all from the same book. I mean, are you kidding me? That's like,
Those aren't the real Mormons. They like sugar in their porridge.
that's like I never thought I would
They
see
took
like a
sugar in their
living,
grits and not salt.
breathing, no true Scotsman fallacy about Mormonism on my channel. I was like, fuck, this is weird. What's going on?
We've got to ask now. So now we can kind of call that it's going to be Biden, which, and I've got to say this, and Donald Trump killed how many people? How many people today from COVID? How many? What's the number? 223,000?
250,000 almost about.
250,000?
Yeah.
250,000 people. Like, I don't think any of us have that many subs. He's killed that many people.
Well, not on YouTube.
Yeah, not on YouTube. No.
I haven't started my OnlyFans yet. Stop being optimistic.
I mean, you could cosplay Jill on there pretty easily. You've already got the haircut and just
I do.
wearing blue.
I
Like-
do. I specifically wore blue today because
Democrat.
because I'm not a Democrat, but I'm supporting the Democrats today.
That's kind of where a lot of I don't know about GE and X, but I know that I am much further left than a Democrat.
Yes.
But I kind of don't have options other than them.
With my employment that I have to say the furthest I can say out loud that I am is a socially democratic person. I can't go any further than that without having paperwork show up, and I'm just be like, nope, don't want that. Nope.
That makes sense. It's like I'm sorry, sir. I didn't say anything about taking over the business as a worker co-op. What are you talking about?
No, sir, I'm not a dirty commie. No, I'm not part of the Red Scare. No, I'm not an anarchist. That's Felicia. No.
So just to clarify, I did vote Bernie in the primaries.
Same.
But I was perfectly fine with the Biden as the Democratic nominee. I think from the beginning, I knew that if anybody got picked out of the entire lineup of Democrat potentials, I think Biden had a pretty strong, at least ability to beat Trump is kind of what I saw out of him.
Hold on, I don't know whose chat is.
So
sorry.
sorry.
Go ahead, X. I'm sorry.
I was
going to
say
earlier.
that Georgia is only 31,000 votes away from going to Biden, and there's 90,000 left to count.
That reminds me, before we get to that comment, Jen, you need to check your Twitter. I have sent you a picture of Trump's newest enemy.
Oh no.
Trump's enemy number one.
Oh my God, I'm scared.
And Jen, I sent you the Paula White video.
Yay! I have all the good stuff to
It's
eat
crazy.
my
I hate her.
I ordered White Castle for dinner tonight, so because I'm not done tormenting myself. Clearly,
We were going to do leftovers, and then when I was doing the Christmas tree decorating stream, somebody sent us a pizza with treat stream, and I'm just like, thank you Thank you very much. I was getting very hungry.
We ordered White Castle. My kid wanted chicken rings, so I was like, "Fuck yeah, I can get down with some chicken rings." We did cover this earlier. I believe that one, it wasn't suitcases and coolers full of fake ballots. It was something like 50 some odd ballots, and as long as it was in by 7 a.m. this morning and postmarked by the 3rd, it's legal.
And they could be absentee ballots, which they don't have to be because those can come in later.
Right, and that's what and I'm going to touch on this in a second when it comes with the military. How does adoption work with trans people? Like anybody else?
Well, yeah. So I
a lot
think
of paperwork, a lot of money, a lot of time. You know,
like anybody else.
Well, yeah. But I mean, I think that it's meant in the larger context of like religious discrimination.
Yeah, that's not gonna fucking happen.
Yeah,
No.
so that's not going to happen with the religious groups that do the adoptions.
Absolutely not. Like
they had a problem with people that were scare quotes here because I can't do them like on camera. Homosexuals be like, okay, you had a problem with that. They've already moved on to their next target they're hovering over, which is trans people. You know,
if I could turn around and fucking renounce atheism tomorrow and say I'm going to go back to being a Catholic. And if this passes in favor of CSS, of this Catholic charity, because of the fact that I'm queer, they can deny me and say, well, we don't give a shit if you're Catholic. It's because you're queer and you date women.
And you can't take communion, so therefore you're not a member in good standing. And, you know.
I wonder about that. I've been pulled off the rolls for the Catholic Church. I literally went down there with my abortion paperwork, dropped it on a cardinal's desk, and went, "Take me off, thanks." I wonder if I turned around and said, "I found God again." Can I be considered a Catholic in good standing?
Well, I think that you would probably have to.
Depends what parish, I would think.
Yeah, well, I think that you would have to like start going to church regularly. Maybe before they would start vouching for you.
Oh, fuck that! I like my Sundays. Goddamn it.
I like sleeping in on Sundays. I like video games on Sundays. Mm-hmm. I like studying the Bible so I can debunk it on Sundays, as opposed to having it force fed to me.
No, I don't even like that. I'm just like, no, I want to like lay in bed with my coffee because my kid loves sleeping late on Sundays. And I want to watch really terrible TV like fucking Catfish and Rock of Love while it's fucking quiet in my house. That's what I like doing on Sunday mornings. They have it all the time on Pluto, and I'm like, yes.
I watched 3 seasons of that goddamn show.
I watched 2 seasons of it yesterday. Okay?
And I watched Flavor of Love as well.
Shot at Love with Tila Tequila. That's the one we have to find.
Oh my God, Jen, have you been following?
Lately?
Yo, she's a fucking crazy bitch. Like, well, one, she's a Nazi, like a literal, legitimate Asian Nazi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she's QAnon now.
Oh, now she's QAnon.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Whatever gets her attention because MySpace is no longer popular, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I just love the fact that the Juggalos said, "Fuck you, you're out of here." They threw bottles and shit at her.
When you get thrown out of the Juggalos. When the Juggalos are like, "Nah, bitch, you're too fucking insane for us." Sorry,
I mean, you're scraping the barrel with us already.
Yeah, no.
You're underneath the barrel. You're with the grubs.
Something to consider with the late ballots and mail-in ballots. The majority of the military votes this way.
And they have since the fucking Civil War.
Since the dawn of since the dawn of the goddamn military. For Europe, and now this is where we're running into an issue because COVID has backed up fucking everything. So if you've got guys in Italy, if you've got guys in Germany, that our borders were completely shut, literally nothing's coming through. So this is going to delay their vote. If you've got guys in Afghanistan, if you've got guys in Syria, if you've got guys in Iraq, let me fucking tell you, that shit is a 3-week to get there. It's a 6-week turnaround for a back and forth. I've sent many, many, many packages to both countries. So we're now dealing with a 6-week turnaround. With a backed up mail system, with ports not being able to be open to certain countries because of COVID. So Trump has literally turned around and said, we do not want the military vote counted at this point.
But thank you for your service, you know, and you're a bunch of losers and quitter, or what do you call them? Losers, and what the hell was the other one? I don't remember. He was just
Admiral Bone Spurs is quite mouthy on the fucking military.
He never misses a chance to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, and yet 50 fucking million plus people still voted for this turd. You know, just
that is because 50 plus million people in the United States are turds.
Art. Hey, Trio Monkey, I'm the two bald guys.
Well, see, and I'd be bald if I had the camera on as well.
Bald?
So.
I'm the two bald guys.
I'm not bald.
I like how on the line yesterday it was me and Jimmy on one side, and then it was Ocean and Matt Dillahunty on the other. So it was like, on this side
you
we
had the
have
bald-
hair, and on this side we've got
have
bald
none.
people.
To argue though, Ocean has enough hair on his beard to probably surpass every
I've been
fucking one
told
of
that
us
my
in here.
hair is thinning because it's migrating south.
Are you Italian? Because that's what we say as Italians when we go bald.
I
Especially Italian women. But,
I am
you know,
I am more like Caucasian Indian than Italian, but
That's what us Italian women say to ourselves in our old age. Oh, it's just
See, and
migrating.
I'm just like John over there. My hairline has gone beyond the temples like that too. So my shit's doing
Yeah.
the same thing. Yep.
you
You
get
get a
the
nice
widow.
widow's peak on here.
Yeah. Well, I don't have the
Thank-
widow's peak, but it's thinning, and that little tiny portion from where your temples go back, or your little corners go back, the M shape, the tops of the M's.
If you could
in
just
between there is the
grow
thinning.
the
So.
rest of your hair up, you would make a very convincing Vegeta with the widow's peak.
Yes. So wasn't the U.S. military not in favor of Trump? I can't say for all the military, but they fucking love him here.
Usually the military votes conservative historically.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, Trump also increased the funding to the military during his presidency
Yes.
while cutting funding to the VA,
Mm-hmm.
which it's like, yeah, you get big shiny guns and we can get more people in, but once you're out, die. That's basically
Fuck
what
off.
he said. But
Yeah.
this is why generally a lot of people who leave the military sometimes become more progressive when they leave the military, but
Mm-hmm.
not while they're in.
Here's something else he did too. A lot of guys when they get out, a lot of people when they get out of the military, they look for GS jobs, they look for government positions, and then they tend to stay around the military bases. I know here.
Sorry. Sorry.
yeah, we
I
know.
say that same thing with my dad was a master load sergeant in the military. Do you know what he does as a civilian? Same fucking thing.
Just on a GS as a civil, yeah, just on the GS scale.
Yep.
He has cut government contractors, which is usually the first step into a GS position. You start with as contracting with a private company, then they say, hey, you've been working here a while. If you just put your information in, we'll vouch for you. And he is now starting to restructure military finance to where he wants to take the actual finance offices off of the bases and put them into the units, therefore reducing the civilian workforce in finance and other areas. He wants to start allocating them out to the units just to solely have soldiers handle it. Now, let me fucking tell y'all. You give this shit to soldiers, it's going to fucking hell. Everybody's got an appointment. Fucking all of a sudden it's 12 o'clock and everyone's fucking gone. Nobody knows why nobody's coming back today. Nobody's showing up for formation on time. Ain't shit gonna fucking happen. Your S1, they're trying to delegate everyone to the S shops. He's legitimately trying to cancel out the civilian sector of the military at this point.
Well, not to mention that every president, even Obama, has fucked with the civilian workforce, trying to balance the books by, saying, hey guys, no pay raises this year because, we're trying to cut back money, and be like, bitch, don't you realize most of these people make this fucking machine work?
But that's also one of the most heavily relied on, especially now that we're still dealing with sequestration.
Yeah.
Way back fucking when Congress decided we're not going to fucking do shit, they decided to sequester the military, which meant a lot of guys that were coming up for retirement were then forced out of the military. They were not providing reenlistment bonuses. They were not allowing people to reenlist. So all these guys were getting out, and they're heavily dependent on the GS scale pay. So they're now cutting jobs to veterans as well.
Yep.
But,
And
we're
not to mention the
military.
bullshit that they just did, passing a rule about if you are someone that deals within policy, if you don't agree with what the executive branch says, they can fire you for no reason.
Yeah, he's essentially deunionized and ripped the protections from GS positions. So the DMV is pissed. The DMV is not happy because the DMV now falls under the Department of Homeland Security. So
I'm sure
we're
they'll do
looking
So
at-
does the
something about it
fucking Coast Guard.
eventually.
How weird is that?
Well,
That was an independent military branch for the longest
when was the
goddamn
last time we
time.
sent the Coast Guard anywhere outside of our own borders? Let's think about this. When
Well, I
was
mean,
the last time
there's
they
a
went
reason
somewhere?
why they're the Coast Guard.
Like,
They guard our coasts.
I agreed with that. I'm like, where do we send them? Florida? I
would-
understand that Florida is a different fucking world, but it's still in the country. I get it.
I would think that Trump would think the Coast Guard's just a bunch of lifeguards.
Well, I mean, they're there to rescue his fucking boat people whenever they capsize their
Oh
shit.
my
It's not even
God,
just the
here we
boat
go.
people. How are we
we
gonna
go.
get all the people that get stranded at his fucking rallies? How are we gonna get them?
How are we gonna save the people in Lake Travis, Texas, when their boats capsize?
Sorry, we shouldn't say boat people, the boaters. How
Yeah,
about the
because boat
boaters? There we
people
go.
sounds like
That's a-
something
that's a
really
fucking
fucking
point term right
different,
there.
and
Yeah.
no.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
we're probably looking at a Biden pregnancy. A pregnancy.
Pregnancy?
A Biden
That was a
pregnancy.
Freudian slip. A Biden-
Here's the
Can't wait
deal.
for the Rule 34 on that.
That
Here's
is
the
a-
deal. I'm
that
gonna
was a
give
fucking Freudian
birth
slip and a
to
half right there.
democracy.
that
Yeah,
off Donald has taken control of my brain.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty. I mean, I don't want to count eggs before they hatch or anything, but I feel pretty confident that Biden's going to pull it out. And
I feel confident with
it's
everyone.
gonna
You're confident he's gonna pull it out so that we don't have a Biden.
Yeah.
So that we
pregnancy?
don't have a pregnancy.
yeah. But yeah, no, I'm fairly confident about it. Because like Arizona and Nevada, I think are gonna stay blue.
I'm looking at Georgia right now.
I'm looking at Georgia too, but I'm not really holding my breath on it.
Oh,
Same thing with PA.
Nope. I'm going to call PA for Trump narrowly, but I'm going to call PA for Trump. Georgia, I'm going to fucking turn blue over, like as blue as this shirt. But we do have to face the fact that we have a president who killed 224,000 people for COVID.
I know. Like it's so weird to think about it, but there are people that have voted for Trump that will die in the next 6 months or
That
so.
have family members who have died.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's killed 224,000 people with his, I can't even say policy because there was none, with his just laziness and inability to do
Obama had a
anything.
policy. It was not very good. We threw it out. We threw out the book. We took a shit on the book. The book now has my feces in it. It's very orange.
I've left it in Joe Biden's suitcase so that he can
forgot
remember
my
the
parking
policy.
pass. It's in that book, so I needed to get back into the book.
I have
So I
my
made
storm-
Eric.
I
Eric,
left
go
it-
over there and open the book.
I left my Stormy Daniels receipt in there.
Yeah,
Can somebody
I
please?
Well, I've actually got to go because I got to put my son.
Oh, go ahead.
to bed.
Yeah.
But it was great hanging out with everybody
You
tonight.
too.
Great
Do you
seeing
have anything
everybody.
coming up recently? that you
Not really. I just kind of fly by the seat of my pants.
love it.
You know?
I fucking love it.
So I'll see you guys later. Y'all have
Thank
a nice
you for
night.
coming on. You too.
Oh yeah, no problem. Anytime you want me to come on, I'm more than likely available.
GE was a last minute. Oh fuck! Somebody dropped. Can you come on? He was like, "Yeah, fuck it, let's do it." Thank you so much for jumping in like that. Seriously,
Oh, no
thank
problem.
you so much.
Well, y'all have a great night,
You
and I guess
too.
I'll see you guys later.
See you, G.
Hey, man.
See ya.
So this guy's killed 224,000 people. He literally told a white supremacist group to stand back and stand down.
No,
he
they're
can't-
not
Even worse,
white
stand back and
supremacists.
stand by.
He can't manage to get his fucking foundation a proper shade, for fuck's sakes.
They're not white supremacists,
Oh,
Jen.
Jesus Christ.
They're race realists, and they just really believe in the power of Western values and Western culture.
Right.
Proud Western chauvinists, they say.
Okay.
And
okay,
after
okay.
I had an argument with one of them for 3 fucking hours, we went back and forth talking about shit. He's like, I wasn't talking about American imperialism. I'm like, motherfucker, Western values as in Western Europe. What are you
dumb
fucking
shit.
on, you dumbass?
Service, we got to call out your state. Georgia stopped counting for the night. We'll resume in the morning. Georgia fucking turned around and said they had 29,000 left to count. And they were counting through the fucking night. What the fuck? Why do they do this shit? Did the mint juleps run out? Is Waffle House suddenly not delivering anymore? What is going on?
Well,
Someone got a call from Dan Cathy. That's
Waffle
what it
House
is.
only delivers if you use DoorDash. So yes, actually, Waffle
Which
House has
DoorDash
stopped.
is down for the evening, actually.
DoorDash is down for the
having
evening.
issues this evening. I tried
So
to use it tonight.
yes, you are correct. Waffle House is no longer delivering.
That's it. So yes, Michigan,
Wait, what do we say
PA,
about
and Georgia.
Waffle Houses if they're not open? I mean, that's technically a form of not
If the
open.
Waffle
Well,
House
no.
is not open, then
Th-
get the
this
fuck
is-
out of
this-
the town.
This is actually the National Hurricane Center uses Waffle Houses to determine the scale of, and yeah, the National Hurricane Center and NOAA uses Waffle Houses to determine the scales of natural disasters. If so many Waffle Houses in a state are shut down, they know how severe to call a natural disaster if the Waffle Houses are shut down. This is a legitimate government policy.
Like they just come out on a watchtower somewhere, and if the lights are off on the signs,
If
they're like, "Oh,
they go
fuck, it's
through. They
bad."
go through and they contact like headquarters and they try to contact the stores. And if the stores are shut down,
The
they
yellow
know how bad it's gotten.
the yellow lights are off. We're out, boys. It's time
Like McDonald's
to
is not the
go.
American way. It's fucking Waffle House, literally. Like Waffle House determines how many people are dead in a state, apparently. Now, but we've got the Democratic Party, who is pulling out a narrow lead.
Eking.
Eking. Like, I think my ex-husband's dick was bigger than the fucking lead that the Democrats have right now, and that's not saying much.
There was a whole lot of pre-cum. That's all I'm saying
I
about
am-
the Democratic Party right
empathize
now.
with your ex-husband.
This is what happens when you get the three of us together, and now we have no supervision. This is bad.
You think GE was supervision?
He's super young.
Wait. John Whale Penis Godless Engineer. You think he is supervision?
15-foot whale penis.
No.
I don't know
No.
John well enough yet to talk about whale penises. Okay, once I do, we can. But
3 years I have known this man.
but how we have got to start questioning the Democratic Party if they cannot nail a landslide victory over this
Against-
stupid shit.
One of the worst presidents we've ever had that killed 250,000 people.
People.
That has single-handedly wrecked the goddamn economy and has spent us into a fucking deficit that it's going to take 3 Democratic presidents to dig us
very
out
much
of.
for your
Literally, and he's been
membership,
saying this for
Curatorian.
months, that if he feels
have
that the vote is
access
skewing towards
to
Biden, he's going to
Membership
attempt to stop
thingies
it in
now.
the
I
Supreme
see you
Court.
just used one.
I don't know if Cyrus is talking to us.
I was talking, so somebody became a member on my stream, so I was letting them know that, hey, thank you for
I'm a
becoming
member on Cyrus's channel.
thank you for becoming a member. You have access now to member-only emotes in the stream, but they had just used an emote right before I said that, so I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, they used
have to set that
Neko
up.
Cyrus, so I was like, okay,
I
cool.
have to set that up. I have some emojis that are like I can probably try to work through. I gotta set mine up. I'm just
Yeah,
being
and I
fucking
should have
lazy
fucking
about
been streaming this on my channel. It's a rookie mistake.
it.
Whatever. I'll just download it later and rehost
Yeah, fuck
it.
it,
There
Mary.
you
I
go.
don't give a shit. But how are we literally sitting here 24 hours later, more than 24 hours after the last polls have closed, and we still have 5 fucking uncounted states that we need to rely on? What? The Democratic Party is no longer effective. It's
No,
just
it's
not.
because we're all left of the Democratic Party. We are all hard left of it. The Democratic Party is essentially the new Republican Party, and we don't have a landing place because the two-party system has ruined fucking discourse in this country.
The two-party system has a moderate centrist party, which is your Democrats, and it has a far-right party, which is the Republicans. And one thing we were hoping for with shit like the Lincoln Project was that the Republican Party might split into Republicans the way they existed in the era of Lincoln, still racist, still bad, but pre-Southern
Slightly more.
strategy.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen. Historically, since its inception, especially since the Southern strategy, the GOP has been filled with a lot of party loyalists who will still, even when their principles are threatened, will still vote Republican,
So,
which does
I
not
was gonna
happen
say
as
that
much on the
leads me-
left.
That leads me to this, where I think the Democrats went like really hard after moderates this time,
Yes,
and it didn't work. So
they
they're
ousted
winning.
their lefties.
So they're winning because of new voters, and that's because of COVID. So Trump would lose if if we were trying to get more people that were excited to vote instead of just going, well, I'm going to vote for Grandpa.
Also, in any state where Trump is losing by a single percentage point, if you look at those states, a lot of them, Joe Jorgensen actually has the 1%. Like in Georgia, she's at 1.2%, and Joe Jorgensen, as a libertarian, usually your disaffected Republicans go to the Libertarian Party and they vote, and your disaffected Democrats go to the Green Party when the Green Party is available to vote. It wasn't
and then
even
we had Howie Hawkins. Which,
it wasn't even available to vote in my area.
He was here.
So if you are a disaffected Republican and Donald Trump is losing in your state by about 1%, check how JoJo's doing.
Yeah.
That's where those went.
This is new. Now, The Hill, I'm always a little sketchy on following because they seem to be real kind of reactionary. Reported that some Dems want to replace Nancy Pelosi as Speaker with a more right-wing Democrat. Would be nice to have a more left-wing Speaker. I don't see them replacing Nancy. I don't. I think she's the bull in fucking horns of the Democratic Party at this point, and that's exactly. I think AOC is a little too fire for them. They find her a little risky. I think Nancy Pelosi is the proper centrist bull in horns that they want to pull out. I don't see them replacing her unless she dies.
I'm not about to celebrate that live on air.
Fuck off.
I'm sorry.
We're not liberals, ladies and gentlemen. Cyrus and I are leftists.
If somebody was like, oh wow, it's an atheist channel, he's a skeptic, that means that he's probably going to lean a little bit this way. No, I'm a fucking socialist, and I've never been quiet about this since I said it first on my channel. Sorry, there's a reason I have bread and a fucking hammer.
Literally, it came on tonight. X, what do you think about replacing Nancy Pelosi with a more right-wing Democrat? I don't know where X went.
Well, X is not going to give it to us. So
X is not going to give it to us, ladies and gentlemen. But
I should
clearly,
play Resident Evil 2 now.
Clearly, the Democratic Party has failed. This is. It should have been a fucking landslide.
It should have, but the DNC has failed at every turn here by ostracizing their left wing.
How many years now have
multiple
they done
years this? Multiple years, because even if you look at Obama, for all the things Obama accomplished, there are a few things that he did that we need to be incredibly critical of. One of them was the amount of the fucking hawkishness that Obama dealt with, the amount of bombing. Literally.
Yeah, literally.
The other thing is that even though we got the Affordable Care Act, which was a net good in that there are 20 million people in America who are insured right now who would not have been insured without the Affordable Care Act. That's good, but the fine that existed for not being able to afford health care was a bad. That was a huge bad, because that literally is spitting on workers who could not afford health care. Otherwise, for every single year, for the most part, that the affordable health care came through, I was not able to afford it. And fun thing, it's actually illegal for them to fine you for not being able to have health care.
Yes.
But because it is calculated as a tax, that's what allows it to be legal. So that's when you look at things that Obama's done, never look at him and go, well, he's blue, so we don't get to criticize him. No, criticize the absolute fuck out of any Democrat who does not espouse your values. And of course, if you're on the left and you have a right-wing person, you're going to be doing that anyway. Yeah, but don't ever fail to do that when there's a fucking Democrat in.
No,
oh God, I savaged Obama earlier this week about
Absolute
they're like, well, what about Obama? I'm like, he fucking bombed weddings and school buses full of children.
Hospitals,
so,
he bombed hospitals.
Fuck him,
yeah.
You know?
Aikita, have some socialism. Comrade Cyrus, $5. Thank you so much. Again, for those of you just tuning in, Cyrus has a fundraiser going to replace the pipes in his house. So every
not just the pipes, the whole fucking kitchen has to go because of water damage.
There's whole fucking thing.
There's videos about it on Twitter if you guys are curious about the extent of the damage. But warped boards that are now black is the answer to that.
Yes, like we have to throw the whole kitchen away, literally. So any super chat that comes in tonight, any sticker that comes in tonight is going to go straight to Cyrus's fundraiser for him rebuilding his kitchen. Cyrus has also been doing a shit ton of streaming himself, so head over to his channel,
I
sub.
did 14 hours
Oh,
yesterday.
good. Oh my God. We were up till what, like 4:30 your time?
And that was only when you hopped out.
That's when
Because I
hopped
still
out.
stayed on with Bill and with Nervardia for a while, and that's not counting the 4 hours I did in the morning. When I did 4 hours in the morning, slept for 2 hours, got food, and then proceeded to stream for another 10 hours for election stuff. But it was asked, where is the fundraiser right now? So give me a second.
It's linked in my description below. Cyrus's fundraiser is linked in my description below. Give Cyrus a sub. Ring that bell so that you know when he's going on to kind of move him towards his goal. Utah Outcast. I have a shit ton of fun doing their show. They record on either Fridays or Saturdays, and we get unbelievably fucking drunk till like 3-4 in the morning and just talk about like the craziest shit ever. Go give Utah Outcast a sub. They've always got really cool guests on, and they're always dealing with supremely outrageous shit that's either been said to them or just in the world.
The video that's live today is our answering the 10 questions of Braxton Hunter for atheists.
Fuck. Holy shit. Are any of you applying for an emotional support Canadian? I am applying for an emotional support Scandinavian man who I prefer to be between 6'4" and 6'8", with blonde hair, a long beard, very stoic, and just a man shield of emotional support. So if anyone would like to push my application along, I would greatly appreciate it. I know what it's like to not have a working kitchen. Cheers. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Jay.
so much. So what do we do now? The Democratic Party is failing. And the Democratic Party has failed because, one, you keep shoving fucking centrist grandpas in since fucking Obama. I'm sorry, no. You give me fucking Hillary Clinton. You give me fucking Hillary. You give me fucking Hillary, who that bitch, they found stealing $8,000 worth of shit when they tried to fucking move out of the White House. She was stealing dishes. She was stealing fucking paintings. That bitch was stealing shit in the fucking U-Haul.
I mean, I did that when I left the hospital. I'm like, if it's not bolted down, you know.
I do that every fucking hotel. If
So-
y'all book me for conferences, I'm gonna steal shit out of that room.
So I'm
towels.
just going to go ahead and say right now, what kind of
Oh, the
Bible?
Gideon's.
It's a Gideon's Bible. Where do you think this came from?
I have taken to getting into hotel rooms with the Gideon's Bible and changing as many he's and she's to they, them that I can.
No, what
I
you
just
do is you just collect Gideon's Bibles, and then you have a stack. You just have a stack of them, and then when you have enough to make a throne, you get enough to make a throne of Bibles, and then you just masturbate on them.
There, it's the throne of my enemies. I can
Yes.
literally have an iron throne.
You-
of
you
Gideon's
Well, that's how
You
you
can have
shellac it all together. So
You can have. No, don't paste them together with your sploosh. That's not what you're trying to do.
Why the fuck not?
see, that's the kind of
Times
record
are
you get on
tough
my
here,
channel,
okay?
so.
We're all fucking broke, all right?
Times are
Look-
tough, and now the pages are too.
Oop, it's whitewashed.
So you've got the Democratic Party throwing out centenarians at us constantly. Literal. Like, they're in their fucking... what is Biden, like 84? What, like...
He's an octogenarian, isn't he?
He's
I
an
think?
octogenarian, but,
Yeah.
But-
Hillary was 70-something?
We need to be very clear though, because
It's not an age
if
thing for me, but it's a values of that age, you know.
if we are electing, there's a couple things we need. I'm going to get into the issues with who we're electing, and then also what we have to do regardless. The issues with who we're electing do not necessarily just come down with age, because you've got people like Bernie whose values are not of the age he was born. They are very, very modern. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your candidate is like X said, that their values are in line with an actual like functional progressive platform. And the reason you want to do this and not necessarily go for let's just grab the young female who will go forward and do great things, because when you do that, one, you're going to get hit with the identity politics thing repeatedly, and two, how many times have you seen on Facebook? Just going to throw this out there. I'm sure both of you have seen a lot of this.
Have you seen my
The-
Facebook? You know what I've seen on my
The liberals should be so happy with Donald Trump right now. He put Amy Coney Barrett in. They got a young female into the Supreme Court. That is quite the progressive win, and it's from Donald Trump of all people. Please tell me that this is not the first time you've heard this.
No, and this is a fucking telltale sign of exactly what Donald Trump and his base thinks. They think that literally having a vagina means you're liberal.
Yeah. And so this is why you have to get not the person who aesthetically looks correct. Would I like to have a
The
female
tokenizing.
Like would I like to have a female president? Yes. But would I like that female president to be like Amy Coney Barrett? No. Would I like?
No.
It's like, do you want to? It's the monkey's paw thing. Do you want a female president? Yes, I would. And then the monkey's paw curls, and then you get Caitlyn Bennett shitting her pants in the White House.
But this was the downfall of John McCain too.
Because he had Sarah Palin.
He goes and grabs Sarah Palin, and I was so happy to see that. Yes, we may possibly have a woman vice president. But holy fuck, not this one, please. Can we actually get a woman with credentials instead of saying, like propping her up like a fucking Barbie doll and I can see Russia and now she's on fucking The Masked Singer and shit. Like,
so I do want to respond to a thing that's in my chat from James. Bernie's ideals are of the age he grew, though. I'm not quite as old as he is, but share a socialist ideology. So the thing is, socialism during Bernie's age was a faux pas. This is post Red. This was post Red Scare. And as just in general in America for the last 100 years, we've called everything left of the Democrats communism. Everything that socialism is communism. When I say that his ideals are not of his age, I'm not saying that he hasn't been consistent in his ideals from that time onward. I'm saying that currently socialism is much more in vogue. And Bernie happens to be not necessarily a full-on socialist, but he definitely is a social democrat. So that's what I mean when I say of the age. I don't want somebody who's a Democrat, but they're a Democrat as they existed in the 50s. That's what I'm saying.
X has a phone call to take. X is actually streaming while he's supposed to be working. So thank you for the $5 super chat, which would it kill the media to stop referencing the suburban woman vote because it's not all women in the suburbs taking care of the housework? So this is interesting this year because Donald Trump was very heavily reliant on the suburban Republican housewife, and they came through for him last election. However, what we are seeing now in the suburbs surrounding larger Democratic cities is that vote is changing. These white suburban women don't want him anymore. And I think
my favorite bumper sticker in regards to this is "This pussy grabs back."
Mine bites.
Oh, I wasn't aware we were watching Teeth.
Somebody else knows that movie.
I watched that movie when I was a kid.
I was about 13.
I think that's about where I was either late middle school 13. Or early high school when I watched that movie.
Yeah, I was about 13, 14 when I saw it. And yeah, it's not all the women in the suburbs taking care of housework. Suburban women are actually make up I think the dominant force in the women's workforce is suburban white women. So, I said it in an earlier video. He doesn't want to make America great again for the country. He wants to make America great again for himself and those like him. White men.
It is not even I actually disagree. I disagree with that because here's the thing. He doesn't want to make America great again at all because Make America Great Again is simply a copy pasta off of Reagan's Make America Great campaign. He's not even trying to make it great functionally for a group of people. He's simply looking at what was popular as marketing and applying it. So I don't agree that he's got a base of people that he wants to make America great for specifically, because I view what he's doing as strictly a marketing move. I don't think the goal is anything except get votes, get popular. Because if you ask Trump and this has been asked by reporters every once in a while. What does he mean by "Make America Great Again"? Most of the time, he'll issue something. I think there's actually a clip of him saying, "What was it? It used to be that when somebody talked up, they'd throw them out, they'd throw them into the back, and they'd rough them up a bit, and they'd never do it again." That whole thing. But when it comes to pointing to an actual time and place, it's almost very hard to pin down because everybody has a different idea of when America was considered great. So, but that's because it's vapid marketing. When you have that kind of vapid marketing, it is a thing that appeals universally. But when a thing appeals universally, usually that means that it's vapid in some way. There's something there. It's like,
considering the age of his voters, I would think it's pre-civil rights America is what they want to go back to.
Oh
so.
Boy, 50s.
I wouldn't say pre. I for some reason that clicked in as pre-Civil War America for me, and I have no idea.
That too
I
for
have-
some of them.
I have no idea what my brain went that way. There was like, no, honey, not 1976, 1876. Like, I don't know why I went there. I would say he's probably trying. Now, here's the thing. Donald Trump's family made a shit ton of money between the 20s and the 40s. A lot of bootlegging, a lot of that
Profiteering.
shit. a lot of profiteering. I think this is his ideal because I really feel that I think it's something personal to him to where his grandfather was extremely successful. His father was pretty successful, yet he's not. He's constantly fucking bankrupt. He's constantly losing fucking businesses. So he's looking back at a time to where he can be exactly how he sees himself. So he equates his family with it. And this is where he wants to go back to, not for the country, for himself.
Well,
This also happens to be the period of a great fucking depression.
A point was made in my chat. I also got a really big super chat that I want to get to here in a sec.
Sure.
But there was a point made in my chat as well. It's also part of it's also a fascist tactic, demanding the restoration of a mythical past gives followers a focus so that they can be manipulated, which is true. That's a thing I've gotten to in my "Is Trump a Fascist" video, which if you haven't seen, please go see it. I actually have. It's not just me going, he's a fascist because this. It's me let's take Lawrence W. Britz, who's got the popular 14 points of fascism that people share on Facebook, though he's not an authority in the field. And then let's take somebody who is an authority in the field. Let's take Umberto Eco, and let's take his 14 points of fascism, and let's juxtapose Trump to both of these things. And he hits 12 of 14 points on both of them, and they have different points.
But wasn't this also a tactic with pre-Nazi Germany when getting Hitler into the chancellor's
This was
position?
also a tactic in Mussolini's Italy, specifically where fascism, the ideology as we know it in the modern day, was born. Make Italy great. Bring Italy...
That's why I'm watching the people protesting right now with all of the shit going on in Arizona where they're saying, Arizona's keep counting. And then in Michigan, you have people stop counting.
Yep.
And then I'm just waiting for our version of the Night of the Long Knives. I'm just waiting for a crystal knock to happen. I'm just waiting for a
for the Night of the Long Knives to happen. I will say this: if it makes you feel better, the conditions in our parliament or our government are not the same as the conditions as were in Nazi Germany.
Whoa, how bred are we going here?
They are not the same conditions as existed in Nazi Germany during the Night of the Long Knives, because what happened specifically in the Night of the Long Knives was there was a functional left and right wing that Hitler used in his government. In fact, actually, his left wing was his marketing department because workers' rights marketing works, people. And the Night of the Long Knives was him basically purging that. For better or worse, we don't have those functional wings right now, which means we won't have a Night of the Long Knives scenario. It's bad.
All right,
Okay, for those in the audience who don't know what the Night of Long Knives is, y'all explain this, please, because Kat is
Go ahead, sirs.
Okay, the Night of
have
Long
to
Knives basically is a fun argument against Hitler being a socialist anytime somebody tries to do that. So historically in Nazi Germany, or in Germany before it became actual Nazi, Hitler was aligned, not he aligned, because he had... Raz!
Is Raz okay?
Raz!
Is Raz doing all right?
Anyways, I think she's playing Outlast. And so she's going nuts.
Hi, Raz.
So it was a 4-day period where Adolf Hitler with Goering and Himmler, they executed their political enemies.
And the enemies existed within their government for the most part.
In their government, yes.
Like, they basically purged the left wing out of their government, because during the formation of the Nazi Party as we know it today, they took a workers' co-op party from the 30s and they slowly morphed it into what we know as the fascistic Nazi Party today. And after it had completed that transformation and Hitler's power was basically absolute, then they went ahead and genocided everybody that was further left of genociding Jews. Even though their marketing department was arguing for that, and they were the lefties too. So, yay.
So that's
Stabby fascism. Yes, exactly, Zach. Stabby fascism is what it was. Also, there is a $50 super chat in my stream. And it is from Curatorian, the one who just became a channel member. Thank you very much for that. That is a huge amount. And it says, my money is a social construct, which is true. Anytime that I try to...
Yeah, currency means nothing.
Anytime I try to
actually
argue
true.
the social constructs are real thing, when somebody goes, well, if gender is a social construct, it's not real. Open your wallet. How much whatever the fuck you call it is in your wallet? Do you call it money? Why do you call it money? What is money? That's a fun conversation.
We have a quick update. Let me pause the TV. As of right now, Georgia, hold on because I don't want to miss this. As of right now, Georgia has 90,000 uncounted votes. We are currently waiting to see if that has made any change. Biden will need 53 to 55% of those to win. Trump will need 44 to 46% of those to win. So we are at a fucking country.
And are those all ballot votes, or are those mail-ins?
Mail-ins.
Then they are.
These are mail-ins. As of right
probably
now,
going to be.
Donald Trump is only 31,000 votes ahead. We
So
have 90,000 left.
I don't remember how often I've had this. So my family is a family of Trump supporters, because of course that's how it happens.
No, no, that can't be. No.
No. I remember having the conversation with my mother once, where she's like, well, I'm conservative because I like my guns. And I'm like, well, I'm socialist because I like guns. So...
you could be a leftist and like
it's
guns.
90,000 in Atlanta specifically.
Yeah,
in Atlanta specific.
I was going to bring that up, is that it's mainly in Atlanta and
Blue.
I
Blue,
think
blue, blue.
I think DeKalb County is all but counted, and DeKalb went 87% for Biden.
That's
But
about
they
what
also
Ocean
have
figured it
they
would,
have
yeah.
pagan pride in DeKalb County in fucking Georgia. Like, this is not a shock whatsoever.
It's not.
We're waiting on Fulton County. Where I get concerned with Fulton
Thank
County
you very much for the channel membership,
is
Taco.
the Buckhead, West Paces area that is extremely high in old money and structure. This is where I start to get concerned when it comes down to Fulton County. This is where I'm worried about the Trump votes coming from.
Because old money tends to be conservative, because
it tends to be extremely conservative.
I'm
right.
not going to get into the history of conservative thought again on a stream to argue why old money goes conservative.
I can tell you why.
because they want to keep that old money.
Well, no, it was set up that way. It started within the Federal Reserve, who actually one of my like great whatever uncles decided to get a bunch of congressmen onto his island one day in the 1920s and come up with the Federal Reserve program. And the idea for the Federal Reserve was to always keep this bank going that wouldn't be audited and would greatly benefit old money, to keep old money, because they were starting to face steel prices dropping. They were starting to face resources dropping. So they needed to figure out a way to keep the American banking system going, to keep their money. This is where it came from. It was then highly pushed in by conservative voters and, conservative senators, while also being backed by the Rockefeller family. So
No,
that's
the Rockefellers are left-wing. George Soros, elitist globalist money.
Oh, yeah. My family is so fucking left-wing. Sure. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. They're fucking left-wing, and I'm a goddamn virgin. Okay? Fuck off. Now, the younger Rockefellers, the younger Aldriches, yes, we by far are.
Well, I became a a conspiracy theorist about the Rothschilds after that live stream where I drank nothing but Rothschilds vodka, and I don't remember a single fucking thing that happened. So Jen was
That
there.
sounds right.
That was
Yeah, that was right. That was Martha's vodka. So that was the inception of conservatives protecting their money. Was the beginning of the Federal Reserve, and that system was designed to put in place to make sure that old money stayed old money, and that we wouldn't have the checks and balances to go fuck around with it. I am extremely, extremely concerned. Just like I've got to find it, Riverside Drive, right on the Chattahoochee. I'm probably saying that wrong. Right along the
Chattahoochee.
phone. Chattahoochee. I always fuck that up. You know why I fucked that up?
Way down yonder on the
You know why I
Chattahoochee.
fucked that shit up? One, I'm fucking terrified of Deliverance. That's one. Two, every time I drive near that fucking mountain, I feel like my fucking head's in a vice. So now I just refuse to actually call it by because it just irritates me.
X. We fucked that up. We said Chattahoochee, but in the song he just says Chattahooch because he has to force a rhyme. Way down yonder in the Chattahooch.
I'll bring
But doesn't he
this
say
up,
it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie? Or
Oh God, fuck! I don't.
a lot
come
about living and a little about love. I remember that bit, but
Kanye West. I live in a state that had the most people vote for Kanye West. Way to go, Tennessee.
4,000 votes in Utah for Kanye West.
10,000 in Tennessee.
So what's the difference?
1,000 people.
So what's the difference between Kanye West and an abortion?
Time.
One still talks to you.
One was a missed opportunity.
Okay, no, I'm gonna fight now. No, we're gonna fucking fight now. All right, we gonna fight. Is Kanye West absolutely mentally ill and does not need to be in the fucking public spotlight? Yes.
Yeah.
Did he create
However,
2 really good albums before losing his fucking mind?
College Dropout is, and y'all can fucking fight me for this. Fight me, bitch, for this. College Dropout is a fucking icon in hip hop culture. It's a fucking icon in hip hop music.
Is that the one with Gold Digger? I can't remember which was.
No, that was the one with Through the Wire.
That's the second one. So that's the
College Dropout.
So College Dropout was the first one, and that was never heard. That sound was not heard because he was just doing producing before then.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came out with his own album and just blew everybody the fuck away. That was a great fucking album.
And
Oh, wait,
now,
I'm
like Trump,
pulling it.
he has the biggest ego of all time.
Did you see the hologram thing?
No, I didn't.
So Kim Kardashian got a hologram.
Oh, wait, you're talking about where it was
I'm
the,
sorry, no,
the
College
hologram of
Dropout.
Kim's dad, right?
I thought College Dropout was the second one.
College Dropout was the second one with Jesus Walks, Slow Jams, Little Jimmy, Through the Wire, Family Business. This was a fucking and it's never mentioned how good it was for hip hop music. I mean, Kanye's a fucking musical genius.
So apparently,
Yes, Wesley, he had to get going.
Oh, okay. So that was the first album.
So apparently, Trump says he wants to leave the country if Biden wins. Isn't it ironic?
Because he doesn't want to get fucking prosecuted.
to think of Trump as a refugee from Four Dragons.
Is he getting in the caravan?
Oh, you know what's funny? The minute that caravan actually hit the border, all reporting on it stopped. It was almost as if it was a non-fucking issue the whole time.
So I
But we got to scare people. We got to scare people because of the brown folk. So
I want to clarify this a bit because Kanye West gets a lot of shit. Kanye West is clearly mentally ill. He suffered an extreme accident many years back during the College Dropout album where his jaw was actually wired and took severe damage to his skull, and he does have traumatic brain injury. His mother also passed away in a very horrific way.
yeah.
He has
he
said
took
many,
that real
many
hard.
times over and again that he is not a fan of therapy. He's not a fan of medication. It's not Kanye having an ego. Kanye West displays many, many signs of being extremely mentally ill, and he's just not receiving the proper help and care, and he's not surrounded by people who actually care about him to help. I get real touchy with that because his situation is actually very, very sad, and he's actually in a pretty abusive situation when you think about it.
That is
So, what do we do with the Democratic Party? Do we wash it? Do we fuck you and, to quote Ocean Keltoy, fuck the coalition? Do we do that?
There's a couple of things we need to do. One is everybody needs to be gearing up for midterms. Everyone. if there is somebody who is progressive and thinking about going into midterms, running on the DNC, fucking do it. Do it. But
Well, as
Go
we
in.
saw with Justice Democrats, we don't have just 5 now. We now have 8.
We have
you know.
8. We have 8.
So if you have a friend who has political experience and wants to try, if you have the ability to fund a PAC and support a particular candidate, do that. You have options. We need to get more seats in the Democratic Party that can influence the position of the party going forward, filled with actual progressive voices.
Yes.
Think AOCs. Think Bernie Sanders.
Think Omar's.
Think
Yeah.
Ilhan Omar's. Think people like that. We need more people like that because the Democratic Party, as it stands, is useless. It is completely.
And then this is
this
clear.
This election is evidence of how useless the DNC is as it stands. It has to be moved left. Whether we win or lose, it has to be moved left. You cannot become complacent and go, well, I'm a socialist, but I'm going to function with the DNC because they're as close to winning and they're not the Republicans. No. Get in and move them to your ideals. Because guess what? Pretend nobody else is going to do it. If everybody pretends
they're
nobody
clearly
else is going
fucking not.
if you pretend that nobody else is going to try to move the party left, and you feel like you have to do it, and everybody has that mentality, the party will move fucking left. Your midterms is the first thing. This is not the only thing. Leading up to the midterms and even after them, protest. Go on and use your voice. Make sure that you are engaging in direct action. Make sure that you are going, if you have the ability to, phone calls, door to door, whatever you have to do, whoever you can influence in your circle. Engage in multiple levels and layers of direct action and influence everything you can from the local city level all the way up to the level of your state leading up to the midterms to change the way the DNC is structured. Because right now the DNC is filled with establishment Democrats who are very comfortable in their positions. Even when they lose, they are still comfortable. Even when they lose. And Biden is fucking evidence of this right now.
47 years? Something like that.
47.
So do not let the DNC remain as it is. Trying to splinter and create something akin to the Green Party,
Nope.
is not going to work on our current system unless you can change the way that the two-party system works. There's other things to fight for as well. Not just moving the DNC left. There's other things to do. Single transferable votes or ranked choice votes, whichever one seems more likely. It is
Because y'all,
better.
let me tell you right now, this would have been much easier to call on a ranked choice vote.
And because both of those are better than our one and done vote system that we have right now, if you have the ability to protest, to argue at a city council, to do anything to try to change the way our votes are made and calculated in the United States, that is another thing you can do. Do things to push the party left, do things to push the way the country functions left, and do things that change the Overton window of the country. And all of that comes down to direct action, and it comes down to changing how your government is structured, which you can do. There are options that I talked about on my stream last time.
We are the government, people.
Yeah,
Yes,
We
we're
are the
supposed
government.
to be. We are supposed
and
to be.
if you don't have the funding, if you want to be that voice and you don't have the funding, look into support programs like Run for Something. There are programs there that will help you get the funding to run your own campaign because they just want you to fucking participate.
You know how many non-fought against positions happened in Utah this last election for like just state seats? You know,
you're
state
full of Mormons,
state house
so
and
I
state
would
senate.
imagine it's inflated a bit.
There were probably 8 out of like the 11 that were uncontested.
I just want to hit 2 things from the chat.
Yeah.
Abolishing the Federal Reserve is something you agree with. I am not sure, honestly.
No.
I that's something I should probably know more about. I think it needs to be audited. I think it needs to be audited on a consistent basis. I do believe that we should go back to the gold and silver standard, personally.
I don't think
I disagree with the gold standard.
Do you?
I don't think that the gold standard is a good thing to go into, because then you create issues of money scarcity, because it is tied directly to a physical medium. And whereas there are people on the ground level who, when we receive things like a government stimulus check for $1,200, we circulate that money back into the economy.
Back in.
What happens when money is earned by old money? What happens when money is earned by CEOs? Usually that gets either thrown into an offshore bank account, or it just gets hoarded. And when you have a finite amount of money in the system, because it is all tied to a physical medium that is finite in the world, the more you create and expedite the rich get richer and poor get poorer scenario.
I have to look into that. Thank you for that, Cyrus. That's another side that I haven't considered, especially with the offshore banking and the hoarding. Thank you for that.
And I'm also not a fan of it because we're currently looking into asteroid mining, and
Yep.
I mean,
whoever-
I'm for that shit too. I mean, we'll just base it on the goddamn asteroid and fucking be done with it.
well, I'm just saying that'd be great because we could actually have it wouldn't be a scarce material anymore. But the fact is, you don't want your economy based on sand. You don't want it to,
Oh,
you want
here's
it to.
a question. Say we take Biden. We call Biden, boom. It's done. And he does an all right job. Nothing too great, but it hasn't been as bad.
He's
We
not
kinda
going to get
back-
anything done in the first 2 years.
Right, we kind of go back to that normalcy that we had, which wasn't great, but it's a hell of a lot better than what this is. And he's up for re-election. Would you be comfortable with then saying, okay, it looks pretty safe that if another party or another ideal isn't going to win it out, but we'd still be in a safer position with re-electing Biden. Would you feel safer for saying that we splinter off from the DNC at that point?
It depends on exactly how the presidency goes. So if he is just doing okay, but a fervor is being whipped up in the Republican Party, a MAGA-like fervor, and we are getting another potentially more competent fascist
We're
type
getting
figure.
Mike Pence.
If Pence would be a very good one, Miss Electroshock Nipples Conversion Therapy Pence, yes. If we were to get something like that, then I would have to argue, okay, we've got to engage in harm reduction one last time, keep Biden in, because then we've got at least the benefit as well of Biden being the evil and generally speaking, in the United States, people vote for the evil they know. That's generally what happens. We have fewer one-term presidents, at least in recent years, than we have two-term presidents. Hopefully we can make Trump a one-term president again. But if everything is going well and we don't see a MAGA-like fervor that is happening.
But do you think that that's being levied against us at this point? Do you think that...
Oh, no doubt. It's an abusive double bind.
Right.
It
Do
is
you
an-
think
it
that
is an
every time
abusive
they
double bind.
see...
That's
this
why
may
there's
be the
billions of
time-
dollars in that fucking industry.
Right, but
know?
do you think that if they see, things are going okay with Biden, do you think that you wouldn't put it past the Republican Party to put up a Mike Pence-like character just so that they can keep that two-party system aligned, to keep that constant fear going? Do you think, when does it become enough?
So here's the thing. The way that you break the two-party system is not by not voting one of the two parties.
Understandable.
The way there are people that think that I'm going to vote for JoJo and it's going to break the system. No, it's not. That's not how it works, Mr. Atheist Pants. It doesn't
Oh,
work.
we're talking David Silverman?
Yes, I'm talking to a piece of garbage.
Okay.
No, it does not.
I'm already releasing a really fucked up video tomorrow. This is all I need.
Simply voting outside of the two parties in the presidential election does not change the two-party system. Your local votes are going to do that. You're going to be able to do that by trying to change the way we vote. Yes, there's an abusive double bind that is levied against us when we have shit like let's get the neolib or the fascist. I mean, they're both old money capitalists, but it's fine, right? That is an abusive double bind that is levied against us, and it can be used as leverage to keep the two-party system around because both parties do benefit from having a two-party system. Obviously, it's how they keep their power.
But when does it become enough? When do we put
you're
a
asking, when
message
do we-
across, or when does it stop? Because
Are you
this is
asking
going
when
to
do we become accelerationists rather than reformists, or what? Because there's a lot of people that are just ready to burn the fucking thing to the ground. Whether they would
I
actually
get that.
do
I feel that.
My
whether they
I
would
feel
actually
that.
do it,
So-
they won't. But
So my thing with accelerationism is I don't want to have to count how many bodies are required for my ideals
Right.
to become a thing. There's a point that was made in my chat by Brian Stevens, and I think that it's 100% what we need here right now. Bernie was local. And then he moved to federal. This is why your
Right.
local elections, your presidential election, whether you have fascist one or neolib 2 and both of them are going to bomb hospitals, right? That particular one, I'm sorry, your third party vote is not going to do anything good or bad here. It's going to be perfectly useless right now. But where your third party vote counts,
it's
where that counts,
locally-
your
So
local
you're
level.
saying don't give it up. Just reallocate the efforts. somewhere
Reallocate
else.
those efforts. Allocate your effort. You want to fight for third party? Do it 100%. I agree. Do it at your local level and move that person up through. Get them clout. Give them
And
federal clout
to,
like Bernie
to touch
has.
on that, Bernie's been an independent his entire fucking career. The only time that he affiliated with the party is for a presidential run because he knew he wouldn't get the percentage points in the beginning to be heard during the primary debates. We've had him in office, God's how fucking long now. Hercules feels that it won't be Joe Biden in 2024, but Kamala Harris that gets the nomination. Joe would be about 82. I don't agree with that. I think if
you can
the
pump
country
him full
is
of enough morphine, he'll be okay.
right, I think
Strom Thurmond was in that goddamn chair until he was like 340. So
fucking Mitch McConnell is a rotting corpse right now, and he's fucking back in office.
Pat Robinson's Horcrux.
somebody brought up about McConnell getting reelected. I'm like, he's not going to be there that long. They're like, what?
Like
I'm like,
he's
you don't
rotting,
have-
sitting.
you don't-
He's sitting there rotting.
You don't have like giant fucking bruising, pooling of blood in your extremities unless you're about to fucking die, guy.
Right. He's actually rotting. I feel that if Biden can, like I said, return to that kind of not so rocky boat, I absolutely think that the DNC is going to think that they won and they're going to prop them up again. And I think it's going to be a fucking grave mistake. But I think
And-
they are narcissistic and stupid enough to do
I
that.
agree. They're going to go, look, we ousted the fascist, and it's going to be
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, you did, but only barely. Because even though people are going, well, look, more people have voted for Biden than any other president. Yeah, and more people have voted for Trump. That is the other side of that goddamn fucking coin. Both of them have received
They're
astronomical
getting
amount of
good
votes.
numbers. I've never seen. I don't remember a history in any time of voting where I've seen numbers like this.
And
Just as a
and,
whole.
and every person that has tried to go, look, no, Biden was the right candidate. He has so many votes. Then why is it so close?
Yes. I believe that they stated Joe Biden has gotten more votes for any presidential candidate in the history of our country. He's gotten more votes than Obama. He's gotten
Because you're trying to beat a populist fascist. That's
He's gotten more votes than Roosevelt.
Speaking of Roosevelt, that, I think, is the functional direction that the DNC needs to go.
Yes.
Don't because the thing is with our two-party system, the way that our system works, unless you change the voting style to something like ranked choice or transferable, what you're going to have is third parties that can move up locally and then get endorsed by the Democratic Party as their candidate. So you're going to have somebody who has, say, Green Party values move up and effectively become a new Teddy Roosevelt and bring apart a new. I mean, we already have
which
something
is
like
funny
the Green
because Teddy
New Deal.
Roosevelt, if I'm not mistaken, was a Republican. But if we look at him in the modern context, he absolutely fucking was not. Like, no. He was the social president. He was very much for all these social programs. And I think you're right. I think if we had somebody that rode that line for the Democratic Party, it would start to turn the party.
For the Democratic Party, you're going to want a Franklin Delano Roosevelt, because at that point you're going to get your New Deal.
Yes.
That's what you want. You want.
We just got to put some Roosevelts in.
get
And
some
also,
Roosevelts in.
I want to make sure I point out to everybody, I'm not going to speak for you guys, but I'm not a fucking expert on any of the stuff that I'm espousing here. I just want everybody to know I'm good at armchairing. That's all. Please don't come to me for like expert opinion. I'm a wonk when it comes to politics, but I have no official training in this besides what I've learned on my own. So.
Neither. Same with me. I don't either. I am for all intents and purposes an idiot. But another point was made in the chat. The reason that you have to go third party local and then move up and then get espoused by the Democratic or Republican Party, the reason that is how you have to go, even with how popular Roosevelt was, what happened when he went Bull Moose? He did not get enough votes. He got more than any other third party, right? He did.
Right.
Yep.
But when he went from away from the two party into third party, that is when the failure happens. You have to go from the ground up. You cannot go from the top down. When you go from the top down and move to third party, you split the votes and lose. That's what happens when you do that. When you go from the ground up, until we get something like ranked choice, while we're stuck in the two-party system, you go from the ground up, and then you win. You try to win with the DNC and try to win them over and become their candidate. Now, that you run into another problem there, though. That's still not a perfect plan because look what happened with Bernie and Biden. Look what happened with Hillary and Bernie.
Hillary and Bernie.
It is not a perfect plan, but I don't see another plan with how our system is broken.
Well, Aleakai has a plan.
The DNC.
Biden won a hate vote. Most voters were against Trump for Biden. This is true. Get a broad-eyed, bushy-tailed new fascist, and he'll get mopped up.
Yeah, one that won't say the quiet part out loud.
I actually think that if you get a direct fascist, I think it's going to invigorate the GOP. Honestly, I think if somebody was that direct with how wildly right the GOP has moved, like it's much easier to find a centrist left than a centrist right at this point.
Well, because the right is going to... Someone pointed out to me that the people that vote for Democrat want to love their candidates while the Republicans pull the lever for the party every single fucking time. The party tells them this is who our candidate is and you love them instead of just going, I'm a Democrat. Will you love me? You know, it's the opposite way around. We want to be touchy-feely about the feelings about the person. Meanwhile, the other people are lockstepping and voting.
Meanwhile, they're touchy-feeling the fucking voting machines. So where do we push the Democratic Party now? How do we push the Democratic Party now? Say Biden gets in,
like what
and I know he's wanted to sprinkle.
Do we fight with?
I know he's wanted to sprinkle a couple of Republicans in his cabinet, which I'm for. I'm a strong proponent of pluralism. I believe that there should be representation across every aspect of citizenry, that we have citizenship, that we have not even citizenship, people living in this country. We need a wide representation. So if we sit here and throw nothing but fucking Democrats, we're doing the very same thing that we're accusing the GOP of doing to us. Yep. So I do agree with that. But however, wants to make it so balanced?
However, you have one half of the country, one half of an electorate where they're okay with might makes right. And we've been proven time and time again that when we get into the White House as Democratic supporters, that they'll stomp all over us the entire time that they're in there, not play by the rules that they set out for themselves. So I think we need to establish a little bit of dirty play ourselves, because it's been far too long of trying to get along. Far too long, you know.
But
I can understand hearing other people's opinions, but what happened with Obama is that he got way too fucking lackadaisical with the whole thing. Instead of just saying, this is what I want done, he went, well, we're going to work with both parties to make sure we get this done. No, if you have the power at the time,
then you are. I'm like, no, this is what I want done. So what the fuck can the two of you figure out that works for everyone to get it done? But that's your job.
That system is broken, though. That it hasn't been that way for a long time.
So as an example of this, I'm going to go ahead and throw a prediction out. Okay. Let's say the 9th comes around, and everything's looking like it's a Biden win. It's by the 9th it's not going to be fully called, but it basically we'll know, right? We'll know.
Yeah.
My thought is that if Biden is for sure, like pretty much for sure, then Mitch McConnell is going to do everything in his power to prevent a stimulus package from getting through it, to spite the Democratic Party, because Trump has made it part of his campaign that the stimulus package is a reward for voting for him. That is my prediction. And as a result, I kind of have to side with X here because because what we see a lot is that Republicans are willing to throw their own citizens under the bus as long as it means that they get to shake their fist harder at whatever cloud they've deemed as their enemy that day. And as a result, I wish that wasn't the case. I wish that Republicans would play by the rules and be more fine, but I don't think that this Obama era, when they go low, we go high shit, needs to continue. Should Biden pack people in his cabinet who are not Democrats? Yes, but he should be grabbing Green Party people. Maybe even fucking grab a libertarian if he so desperately needs to have something that makes it look a little more colorful. But fuck the Republican Party. I'm sorry.
We have
Yeah,
an
it's like
update
bringing
here.
in Kasich. Like,
We
come
have-
the fuck on, man.
We have
We
an
have an
update here. We are waiting for Arizona to release another statement. They're hopefully within the hour. However, protesters are gathering outside of an Arizona election site and are now blocking the doors. They are blocking the doors and the staircase to leave.
Hey, where's all that tear gas and rubber bullets that the police were doing against black people and during the riots that were happening? During that
Where
whole
we
thing?
at
Or,
with
you know,
this?
sorry, not riots, protests.
I don't
wanna
see
make sure I correct
APCs
that.
outside these motherfuckers, and this is now fucking with a federal election.
I
They're
don't see
sitting
people
here
with
and
stun
intimidating a federal
batons and
election.
shields. I don't see murder holes opening up in their fucking courthouses, waiting to fucking rain hell down on people.
I don't know what's going on in Arizona here, but there was a whole bunch of sheriffs that just left the office. So, yes,
They quit?
they're deploying law enforcement. It's a very large crowd in front of where CNN is reporting from, the election site that CNN is reporting from. They have just had the Maricopa County sheriffs.
What are the protesters
deal with them.
demanding?
They're pissed that Trump is behind,
Yes,
is what it is.
they're very, very mad that Trump is behind. They want to stop the vote.
We have the Brooks Brothers riots times infinity right now, which a lot of people weren't aware of that until last week.
They're now wondering if they have to stop for the night due to safety concerns.
So I'm just going to
So
go
this
ahead
now has become election intimidation.
that. Thank you, stomach acid. That's the perfect time.
It's like, I have something to say.
Election interference.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Election
Thank you.
interference. Well, it's intimidation, which is which is illegal.
Hold on, John. No, it's not.
It's happening in Portland too.
Portland's probably some whole other shit. Oregon has been counted and
And Portland went immediately blue
immediately blue.
because it always has. Because no
yeah,
one gives
it's-
a shit about the part of Oregon past the mountains.
This is now what's happening in Detroit is now happening in Arizona.
Oh wait, no, John's right.
Really?
As of an hour ago, riots have been declared in Portland. The National Guard
For
has been
what?
activated.
Wait, why are they rioting in Portland?
Yeah,
This could be for
gonna-
some whole other reason.
I'm gonna check.
It's Portland.
I'm gonna check real quick. Hold on. It's taking forever
I know you're out there in that area of the world. Let us know if there's anything going on.
It's Portland, so it could be for a multitude of reasons.
So Portland, the Unified Police Command declared a protest in the Unified Police Command declared a protest in downtown Portland a riot Wednesday night, and the Oregon National Guard was activated as election results continued to roll in across the country. Authorities said the National Guard was deployed because there was widespread violence happening in downtown Portland, especially in the area of Southwest 10th and Harvey. Guard members were dressed in military uniforms, and 9 people have been arrested. Police said one of the persons had a rifle. A spokesman for the Unified Command said in a video, rumors of an unmarked van being used to arrest people weren't true. Bullshit.
But
That means it's absolutely true.
I'm trying to get through it to see why. I'm hoping this isn't just fucking fluff. Arrestees are being transported in marked vehicles. Officials say they've authorized the use of guard members to help local authorities in the interest of public safety. Protesters started gathering at the Revolution Hall in southeast Portland for a Defend Democracy rally before marching across the Morrison Bridge to Waterfront Park. The group met with a second protest group on Nashio Parkway. Hold The other demonstration started North Park's border. Authorities said objects including Molotov cocktails and glass bottles were thrown at them. Police said they seized several items, including fireworks from people who were arrested.
Fireworks.
So just more of the same that's been happening in fucking Portland for the last.
Yeah, that's why we
know,
had to
4 months.
ask. Are we sure?
Yeah, so let's see here. A Defend Democracy protest. What is... I'm not familiar with that off the top of my head, but I
That
feel like I should
sounds like a right wing thing where they're just like, you know, we're probate, we are pro environment as we're an oil company and our everything.
So
I
they
love the earth, you know,
they say
as I read it.
we defend liberal democracy against internal, external, and technological threats. They consider themselves bipartisan.
Because I will apologize and say that no, that wasn't it. It was Portland. I assumed Portland's just doing its nightly thing. So, what do we do now to push the Democratic Party to be more progressive, to be more left, as it should be? What do we do at this point? Because clearly, one, the Democratic Party did not do its job in reaching out to Hispanic voters.
No.
It did not. They didn't give a shit.
Because
at
those
that
areas
point.
in Texas actually went red.
Yes. Same thing with Florida. Same. A lot of and there was a much higher Republican turnout in Miami-Dade County. They're completely leaving out the Hispanic vote. I very, very strongly felt that the Democratic Party did not pay a lot of attention to women during this campaign as well. I think they made the mistake and felt as if we were in the bag because of Amy Coney Barrett and did not address. They were also very shady when it came down to the rights of people of color, when it came down to fracking. And like Kai said, this was more of a hate vote against Trump than it was a support of the Democratic Party.
Right.
So what do we do now for the party to push them more left, to make them more progressive, so that we don't run into this again?
So,
And we're not consistently fighting the same goddamn shit.
if you have the ability to speak at your local level, because it's unlikely anybody just randomly listening in has the ability to go speak in front of Congress of all things. But if you have the ability to speak at a local level and speak specifically to your Democratic representatives, speak with them either in meeting or in private if you have the ability to approach them. Hey, I know we got to win. I know Biden won, but this was way too close for comfort. Why do you think it was? If you have the ability to approach any of your Democratic representatives, ask them why they think it was close. Because you likely, if you're watching, you likely know why it was close. You know who the Democrats didn't push for. See what they think. And see if you can push their opinions. Use the fucking Socratic method. It works. It
Call
helps.
me, I'm good at it. Call the bitch.
If you have the ability to approach any of them and engage them in at least 30 minutes of conversation, which you can do, you can go to I can go down to the courthouse right now and find someone in Marietta if I needed to, but that's not where I live. I just know that one because I did a lot of Pokemon Go down there.
They have really good finds at courthouses, I noticed.
Yeah, because there's multiple Pokestops there.
Yeah.
But if you have the ability to sit down, engage in the Socratic method, try to figure out why they think it was so close, and if they don't believe it's because they were speaking to the wrong people, because they were reaching out to the wrong people, because they weren't engaging in enough progressive policies, push them on that. Because you might be the one that turns them from a Biden to a Bernie. You could.
I want to touch up on this. It wasn't just Cuban expats. There's a very large Puerto Rican, and say what you want, but Puerto Ricans are still Hispanic, despite the fact, which, by the way, Puerto Rico voted 52% to become a state this election. They have finally pushed that vote over. So we may be seeing some changes with that. There's a large Puerto Rican population. We are talking about large Mexican, Ecuadorian, and Honduran populations in Texas. Southern California went pretty blue, so Southern California looked all right. But when it came down to Florida and Texas, you're dealing with Cubans, you're dealing with Puerto Ricans, you're dealing with Mexican, you're dealing with Honduran, you're dealing with Ecuadorian. You're dealing with many, many, many Central American nations and Central American nationalities coming up from these caravans that they were so afraid of. These aren't just made of Mexican people. Miami's not just Cuban. The DNC failed the Hispanic community as a whole within many nationalities. This isn't just a Cuban expat thing. X is on a call.
X is on a call right now. So I think
Aaliyah Kai said town halls. Town halls are another
go
excellent way.
speak at your town hall. That's why I said
Go.
if you can do it in meeting or in person, town hall is how you do it in meeting.
There is also and granted it's definitely more of an atheist thing, but there is a organization called Secular Coalition for America who is constantly looking for people to go speak to their Lord, hold on. Who are looking for people to speak to their congressmen, to their senators, to petition for a number of policies. Before COVID, I actually went down and argued for AA programs, rehab programs that were not Catholic and AA based. Titan, yes, I am talking about Florida. I clearly just said there's a very large Puerto Rican population within Florida. There's a very large Honduran population in Florida. There's a very large Colombian population in Florida. It's not just expat Cubans. That will start the process into statehood. I think that they have to go through a couple more steps. However, this was always a really shaky thing, and Puerto Rico has voted 52% this year to become the 51st state, which I support. I support that shit. They pay fucking taxes. They should be recognized as a goddamn state.
Yep.
Period.
So, I know, Jen, do you agree with the case of the most effective thing you can do aside from everything I mentioned before, approaching your actual elected officials and trying to figure out why they think things were close?
Absolutely. A lot of the time people are afraid to confront their elected officials. They feel that they're untouchable. So for a large part, they're just kind of going about and being like, well, I just want to what my state voted for. And they're not listening to the individuals, especially when it comes down to like city councilmen and like House representatives. House representatives break up a lot. People look at them as untouchable. So a lot of the time they think they know what their people want. They have no fucking clue.
And you have to consider that if there is an establishment type Democrat who just wants the status quo to stay the way it is, and they're comfortable with that, so they've got less anxiety. They know that the person they're going to talk to agrees with their values, so they're gonna go with them. They're gonna talk with them. Hey, let's keep fracking exactly as it is. Let's not try to minimize it. Let's not get universal health care. Just expanding Medicare is enough. They agree with all that. Their representative agrees with all that, and so they are confident in approaching. Guess what? If that person reaches out and you don't, the only person they're hearing is that person who wants the established status quo to stay the same. That's the only person they're hearing. That person is more confident naturally because they don't want to upset the balance. And likely the politician doesn't want to either.
Yeah.
So
they want their life to be made easier.
But if
everybody wants to sail in, you know.
But if many of you can go to your town halls, don't harass, with exceptions, protests are fine, don't harass, but figure out where you can speak to these elected officials. If they're holding a rally and you have a chance to go and speak with them there, do it. Go speak. Try to change their minds. Move them to your side. Because guess what? You may not be able to get somebody in power right now who agrees with your values, but you might be able to change somebody who's already there to be closer to yours.
Hold on. Breaking news. Georgia is now planning to count through the night.
Thank you.
Where are you getting your numbers from? I'm noticing AP tends to jump the gun a bit to the point where there was false votes reported for Biden through AP. So I'm noticing AP is tending to jump the gun just a little bit. I would rather follow CNN, who is playing it a little more cautiously. I am once bitten, twice shy by 2016. And I don't want to report that way again, and I don't want to get my hopes up like that again. I think we all kind of, thank you, Kelsey. I am extremely cautious in calling things very early. Which I'm watching CNN.
Oh,
where are you?
I forgot. There's one more thing that I should mention.
What is
There's one more thing.
What's that?
You, as a regular American citizen, can actually get involved directly with a campaign and become part of a campaign team for somebody who's already got clout, somebody who's already going to go. And guess what that means? If there's anybody who's going to have their ear, you're going to have it before the standard American citizen does. Because you're going to be part of the campaign that makes them function.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm a yell. I'm trying to keep my shit together.
It's happening.
I'm trying to keep my motherfucking shit together. I said the DNC failed the Hispanic vote as a whole. What the fuck does 27% of people being Cuban have to do with shit? Yes, Cuban expats are far tougher to flip to a Democratic ticket. However, saying shit like this absolutely negates every other fucking nationality that lives in that goddamn community, and every other nationality that has different needs to be met, that has different ways of thinking, that have different ways of living their lives, that need representation. It doesn't fucking matter how many of them decide to be Cuban expats. The rest of that community are still voters that were failed. And as close as this election was, every one of their fucking votes counted. So don't sit here and try to topple other nationalities, especially nationalities of people of color and minority nationalities, to try to sit here and prove your fucking point. Every goddamn one of them was a fucking vote lost. It doesn't fucking matter. Why is it that just because 20% of the fucking population was Cuban, suddenly they are more important than any Puerto Rican or Colombian or any other nationality that the DNC has failed?
So, Jen, just to balance this out, let's just start calling any white votes out there. Let's just start talking about that's the Irish vote, or that's the Scottish vote, or that's, let's start breaking down the white people into different percentage categories while we're at it.
And y'all... This is the fucking kind of shit that I have been talking about, that I have been catching fucking shit for. That is colonizing shit. Just because this part of this fucking population is more important than the others, suddenly their voice is more heard and we can pin more on them. Fuck you. We are dealing with minorities and people of color who this country has consistently failed, and they are left starving. They are dying at higher fucking rates than anybody else in this fucking country. It doesn't fucking matter. Every one of those votes could have gone for Biden and changed a fucking county.
But no, people aren't swayed by any of this shit. Kids in cages. That didn't sway any of those 56 million fucking assholes that voted for Trump.
We're literally locking up fucking Colombian kids in cages, and they're still voting fucking Republican. We have failed that community. It doesn't matter what the percentage is. We have failed that community. We are no longer worried about numbers. We are worried about fucking people. You don't always have to be right. You don't always have to be the fucking contrarian. And quite frankly, it's old. That's part of that new atheism fucking bullshit, and it's fucking old. We are talking about people. You are not worried about winning a fucking debate. We are talking about how to help actual people who are fucking suffering. Go ahead, y'all. Go ahead, y'all.
I'm just here for the pizza.
Wait.
I have
Never
White
mind.
Castle. Ferris has pizza. I have White Castle.
I had beans and rice because
Why are you so healthy? So now we have to work on, how do we start moving shit at a federal level? Do we have the time to deal with another 4 years after this? Do we have the time to deal with 2028 to be slightly progressive and centrist? Do we have it?
I don't know if 4 years is enough time. I don't.
Can we survive it? Ooh, Raz sounds mad.
Well, I mean,
Raz is playing Among Us. I'm hoping that she's
Oh.
murdering. I'm hoping she's stabbing somebody in the back. I'm hoping because it's fun when Raz is imposter.
So,
I mean, survive.
Can we
I mean, are
survive
we
that?
talking? We're gonna be,
can we survive as a nation on 4 more years of or to 2028 for centrism? Can we survive 8 years of centrism?
No, because one party is playing nice and the other one's playing to win. And no, we're headed, guys. If Biden wins, this is just a little stopgap before we go full fash. You know, the other party has tested the waters and they've seen that they bear fruit. You know, so if Biden doesn't get his shit together in his first 4 years and radically changes the discourse of this country by making every fucking person available to vote, by making it mandatory voting or making it a holiday so people can vote, unless that changes, welcome to the new fascist America that's going to be happening in 2024.
So what advice, and this will be the final thing we end on, because fucking shit, we've been going for 2.5 hours. What advice would you offer Joe Biden to save the country?
Reach out to the left.
Don't be nice.
Yeah, reach out to the left. Don't be nice. Speak to both sides.
Yes.
But call people on their shit, which, to be fair, with at least Trump, Joe has been doing more than I would have expected. But it's got to be against more than just the person everybody hates.
Joe's been pretty good at telling people to fuck off. I mean, consistently he's been pretty good at that.
Man.
What the fuck? I believe when Obama was leaving office, he actually turned around and said that he would love nothing more than to drag Donald Trump out back and beat the shit out of him. This was Joe's idea when Obama was leaving office on how to deal with Trump. Quite frankly, I would have paid good money to see that. For 2028, I would say, instead of concentrating on the states that you are desperate for votes for, and leaving the areas that you know you're going to be voted in for, I think we need to have candidates start doing town halls. I think they need to start reaching out not only to the communities that they feel secure in, but the communities that they don't. I think they need to start asking the people what is wrong. Because I think the biggest issue right now is that people are not feeling heard by these candidates. They feel like they don't care.
So if there's one thing that Trump did in his campaign a lot that I think Biden should take, it is learn to weaponize the rally. Trump throughout.
I mean, not in the COVID way.
Not in the COVID way. Don't be Sean Foyt.
Because Trump's done this.
But learn. Your rally is not just so you can whip up a small fervor. Your rally is how you can create loyalists. You need loyalists. Because guess what? That's one thing the Republican Party has. They can weaponize their loyalists real easy. Democratic Party cannot do that. The Democratic Party can get you in a double bind and say, if you don't vote for us, you get fascism. Doesn't that suck? But they don't have true party loyalists in anywhere near the numbers that the Republicans do. Biden needs to learn to get on the ground with people and create loyalists.
Yeah, I agree with that. Okay, so Cyrus, do you have anything coming up? Besides constantly being on stream.
Aside from constantly being on streams and
living on YouTube,
releasing a bunch of VODs as the stream goes. For those who are watching right now, if you are familiar with my channel, normally there are 2 to 3 edited episodes a week and then 1 or 2 live streams, and that's usually how a week goes. For these next 2 months, that is not how things are going to go. There's a couple of reasons why. One, the channel is still not doing hot. It is still not doing great. Does it pay my bills? Yes. Does it look like longevity is going to be a great thing? No. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be adopting more of the kind of more of the Vosh model of functioning where there are longer streams, there are multiple videos made in that stream, and those are going to be uploaded as VODs as we go. I'm going to be testing that to see how that works. This will do a couple of things. One, it gives me a chance to be down talking with people who watch my channel more often, because if I'm streaming, I'm interacting with you guys more. That just the long
I
and
like
short
the
of it.
vibe of your streams. I do. I like
It's why I've commissioned art to change the way the stream's layout is set up to try to improve them bit by bit. It's why I've done that. And then those are being produced into episodes later. I'm going to be adopting that model for a while to see if that will both help the channel grow, and also I'm going to be adopting that model because, quite frankly, with the situation in the house as it is, with the floor literally seeping down and black, I need to make sure that before the end of the year we've earned our lofty fucking goal of 20,000 to get the entire fucking thing. Which is a third of what we paid for the house to begin with. But when you're gutting 1/3 of the
everything.
house, when you're gutting a third of the house, I guess it makes sense that that's what I'm going to end up having to do. So it's a combined, I want to try to make the channel better, I want to spend more time with my fans, and I want to make it to where the house doesn't get condemned, quite frequently. Frequent.
I think you need
Frankly.
a day off, sir.
I think
legitimately.
I think that would be swell. So, at the end of the day, the thing coming up is just a shift in how the channel operates. For a little while, I shifted it by going full face cam instead of being avatar. That didn't functionally change anything numbers-wise. All it did was mean I could do more things with editing, and that was neat. But now we're going to try to move in an actual different direction, see if that helps the channel going forward, see if spending more time just with fans helps the channel going forward. So that's a full-on channel restructure is where I'm going from here. So, for at least a while.
Trust me, I'm in the middle of mine, and it's so fucking fun.
I'm glad to hear that I'm not the only one that shit is just kind of frozen, you know?
We've all kind of been talking that, everything seems to have like a wholly fucking stalled, like a stupid amount. And it's like, God damn it, why? I'm trying to find Cirrus's channel right now.
That's corporate YouTube for you, so.
You're trying to find my channel.
Your Twitch channel.
Oh, it's been taken down.
You're no, that's
I mean,
fine.
I'm not going to be streaming on Twitch anywhere near as often.
Okay, well, yeah, somebody in the audience had asked, why can't I find you? Just go to Twitch and type fucking Cirrus. God damn it.
Like, I just typed it into this chat. It's twitch.tv/SirrusSkeptic.
Thank you. I didn't know if it was Cirrus or Cirrus Skeptic. So, X, what have you got coming up?
Show coming up on Saturday. Just like usual, there's always going to be stuff Sunday through Monday, every fucking day. Oh, Sunday through Monday. Sorry, Monday through Sunday.
Holy
like there's
shit,
new
we all need
shit.
a fucking day off. God damn it. Okay.
New shit every day on the Utah Outcast channel. And of course we have the live streams that we do on Saturdays. I've been stalled on the solo Mr. Excremento channel that I was doing on Twitch because I got a studio that I'm trying to fucking put together, and it takes a lot of fucking work. I don't care who you are.
Jealous about you.
I can attest. Putting up soundproofing takes work, and it sucks. Setting up an actual studio, setting up things, setting up your lighting blows. And I'm only working with LED and ring lighting. It can get a lot more complicated than that.
So the place where I'm paying rent on this thing, it's a 16 by 12 room, in a warehouse somewhere. It's just an office of a warehouse that nobody was using. So I'm like, cool, I'll use this. This is great. But I walked in there, and it was drywall and concrete. It was just that I had to put, and they told me, hey, you can't put anything, you can't put any holes in the walls. So it's like, well, fuck, how am I going to put soundproofing up? So
double-sided, you take
Am I the only one that just got lucky enough to sit in my bedroom?
Well, I mean, I've got my whole basement down here, but I can't have Kyle and Felicia over as often as I'd
That's
like.
true.
So,
but I'm like, am I the only one that the lights that I set up in my bedroom worked? And
Sirs, what I ended up doing is I bought a whole bunch of 1/2-inch styrofoam boarding that you can get for insulation, or what the hell is it called? Not soundproofing, but anyway, I bought that and I hung it up all throughout every single wall in that place with command strips, so I could just Velcro them off if I want to.
See, the thing that I was gonna say, because it was what I initially did when I first set up my first office after buying the house.
Yeah.
was you take big cardboard packing boxes, and you use spray adhesive, and you use that to put your soundproof panels all on your cardboard, and then you take the cardboard and you hang it up on the wall using double-sided tape.
So I did that just in reverse. So I put up the insulation on the walls. So think about it. It's 16 by 12 and an 8-foot wall. So it took about $200 worth of that shit to put that up. And then I've had to buy 400 fucking sound absorbing tiles because that's what.
Guys, this is why we tell people don't get into fucking YouTube. Like,
It is
this is fucking why.
expensive hobby, especially if you want to do it right.
Yeah, it ain't fucking cheap.
And then I have to put in fucking flooring, and then I got to buy furniture, and then get internet. So yeah, this shit's
Y'all
hard,
go fucking
man.
sub to Utah Outcast. Let's get them some fucking revenue to pull this shit. I have a video coming out tomorrow on what canceling is.
Oh, have fun with that.
Considering I've been accused of it so often lately. Let's talk about it. Not this Friday coming up. Yeah, I'm taking the fucking weekend off. Next Friday, because I got monetized, I am doing a celebratory stream. It's just going to be me live streaming that Friday night. And we're going to talk about dating and sex. And Jen's going to talk about her dating life. And, well, when she had a sex life, her sex life. So tune in for that shit.
Fair and fun.
I want to thank you guys for coming out and sticking with us for this long. Cirrus, thank you for appearing. X, thank you for like rushing in and being like, I got you, put me on.
No
I
problem.
fucking so appreciate you.
My work just decided that tonight's the night that they need to fucking
Tonight they
want
wanna talk to you.
Like Jesus, you've had all week.
Thank you to everyone who's donated. Utah Outcast, their link is in the description. Telltale's channel is in the description. Godless Engineer's channel is in the description. Cirrus's channel is in the description, as well as his fundraiser and the direct PayPal link to it. So hit that up. We've got to help our fucking boy here. Should give him a nice Christmas present. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Where's my mouse? Oh,
Anytime.
no. All right, that hammer's come out. It's time. We've got to get off, guys. Good night.
I had to bonk myself.
Okay,
You know
now-
the last words on the broadcast where I have to bonk myself.
Hold on, I should probably. So I'm still live technically, but I'm gonna fix that here in 5, 4. Thank you all for coming out. Please
Bye,
go
y'all.
check the description. There are links you can click there that will take
All
you
the links.
to places. That said, thank you all for coming out.
Wait, if you want to sub to me, my shit is called The Wind Down.
Your channel is linked in the description.
Oh, I didn't know.
I had a link directly to your stream in my live.
I did not know.
Oh, well, I'm glad you know now. I'm glad you know now. Thank you all for coming out. I am going to click that button, and then click that button,